How are you doing? You all right?
I am. So strange.
I was stalking you on Facebook, and you put, I should have a tea break segment where I spill all the beans on the music industry.
Oh, no.
Do you want to do that now?
Yeah.
What did you mean by that?
Well, there's just so much stuff that happens behind the scenes that, like, especially fans don't have a clue about.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And sometimes you think, oh, do you know what?
If you knew the full story.
If you knew that,
yeah.
you would make different decisions about which gigs you went to.
Yeah, how much money you spent.
How much money you spent. Yeah, exactly.
On the bands.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
like buying CDs and T-shirts.
Yes.
But, so you do many things, don't you?
I do.
What's just the main? What do you class as the main thing that you do?
I think that music-wise, is certainly the Rock Fairy, and
that's your sort of radio personality.
It is my alter ego. So I've actually over the course of the last few months done a lot of thinking about what I want to do with the Rock Fairy, because a lot of people know me as that.
How long have you been doing it?
It's actually so. If I look at when I set up the Facebook page,
of course, that's what
so
you did,
I'll stick it as that.
Relationships aren't official either until it's on Facebook.
Well,
so
exactly. So it's actually December 2012 that I started that, and the reason I started it as a page was because I was writing little reviews, and I thought, if the shit, I'd rather people not know who I was.
I like you thinking. That is
so
good.
Yeah, so that.
That is brilliant.
So yeah, that's the story of how the Rock Fairy started. Yeah, it was in my.
People know who you are now.
Well, they do, yeah. So hopefully
they'll look through the old reviews and
they'll
hunt
be
you
like,
down.
Oh God, yeah. Yeah.
They're like, that was her. Right, get her.
I know, yeah. Well, my local rock pub, which is sadly not there anymore, it's now a block of flats, as is the
thing these days.
As the thing, yeah. So the landlady, they had a few like tribute bands and things like that to sort of keep the pennies rolling in, and she asked me to do a review of a Rolling Stones tribute.
Right.
And I thought, oh well, I like writing, I like going to gigs, and I thought, yeah, why not? I'll give it a go. Wrote this review, sent it off, and it was actually for a webzine in my area called Manchester Rocks. So wrote it, sent it to the relevant people, all that kind of stuff. Never heard anything. I thought, God, that must have been really shit. Don't know. So anyway,
was that under the Rock Fairy?
That was under the Rock Fairy. Well, no, actually, it wasn't. So that was under my real name, and then I got approached by Manchester Rocks to ask if I would review an EP. So I never heard that Rolling Stones.
Just forgot about it.
Yeah, I don't know where it went. I can't even remember what was in it, whether it was rubbish, whatever. And do you know, I can't remember the name of the band. I'm trying to remember. Yeah, Halflings Leaf. I don't even know if they're still around, the band. But yeah, I got asked to review this EP. Sent it off. That was my first review. And then slowly but surely, I started getting sent more and more and more. And then Manchester Rocks were like, oh, do you want to just come and write a few things? And I thought, yeah, I'm going to hide. I don't want to put my name. So I set up this sort of Rock Fairy thing. So I can be a girly girl, I like my glitter and things like that. And I thought, I already knew a little bit about the music industry at that point. Not quite as how brutal it is, until later on.
The reality.
Yeah, but I thought, it's kind of, everything's always like skulls and flames and stuff like that in the rock industry. And I thought, do you know what? Fairy. No one's doing sparkly stuff, so yeah.
Is there anyone else called Rock Fairy?
No.
That's good.
So there is. So when I came up with the name and I had to use the Rock Fairy 1 because there was somebody called the Rock Fairy, but it's like some random Indian lady that's got about
the case.
That's got about 30 friends, and
it's never posted anything.
And I was like, no, you're not even posting, and I really like this name. So yeah, it was the Rock Fairy 1 for ages. I'm now the Rock Fairy official. Hey,
of course.
I haven't got a blue tick. That needs working on.
Yeah.
But
you have to send some ID in.
You do. Well, that's by the by. But yeah, that's how the Rock Fairy started. So carried on doing the reviews and then started interviewing bands and things like that. Had a little bit of a dabble with management. I use that term loosely. It was more just booking gigs for some friends' bands, which I don't really.
Like a booking agent.
Yeah, at the time it was like, ooh, you're managing a band, how exciting! And at the time, like my day job at the time was managing a team of people in a call centre. Hey, glamorous, I know. So I mean, I've managed and coached people since I was 18, but obviously not in a music capacity. And then it just sort of
When did the
grew and
radio
grew.
side of it come in then?
Radio show was that'd been about 2000. So it's had two incarnations.
Right.
So I first had a radio show on TBFM.
Oh yeah,
which
I
is
remember.
obviously no longer
I
with
remember
us and stuff. Parted ways with TBFM. Not going to spill too much tea, but not under the nicest of circumstances.
It is what it is.
But yeah, that I was a bit burned by that whole experience. But I loved my radio show, and I loved a lot of the DJs and things like that.
Was that when the whole thing went away, or was that before that?
It wasn't that long before, shall we say?
Right. Okay.
So sort of
basically, it all collapsed after you left.
well, yeah, actually. Well, yeah, I left. I use the term left loosely, pushed, whatever you want to call it. But anyway, that's by the by. Then another close friend of mine, who was a DJ on the show, which is DJ. Well, some people know him as DJ Squatter. Some people know him as Paul McMonnies.
Yeah.
He left not long after me, similar circumstances, and then when both of us left, essentially, that is when there was nothing to do with us leaving. Why things went south.
Yeah, it was all busy.
We're both happy. We're doing wonderful things now.
Yeah.
But yeah, then everything obviously went south with TBFM. Jason moved on to Hard Rock Hell Radio, etc. And I was a bit. I don't want to do this thing anymore. And the way the radio show worked then, it was very much record at home with your laptop. Didn't really feel
like send a show in and then they'll play it.
Yeah, and it was pre-recorded as well.
Yeah.
So I always struggled a little bit with that because you felt a little bit fake and a little bit forced. Cause you're like,
it's more exciting when you do it live, I suppose, isn't it? Yeah.
I'm talking, and obviously there's no one listening to me
talking. You could get feedback while you're on the show as well, couldn't you?
So like I say, the pre-record thing.
But you probably learned a lot though doing it.
I did. I learned a lot about how crap I am with technology.
Not as bad now, surely.
No, not as bad now. But back then, I didn't know how to edit audio.
I suppose you've got to edit it and then give it to them. Give it them the finished.
Yeah,
thing.
well, because I'm so crap with technology at that time, like I say, it was about 4 years ago now. If I made a mistake on my show, because it was a 2-hour pre-record, I used to go, do you know what? Because I'm so crap at editing, this 2 hours I have to get everything right. Because
you just want to do it in the full 2 hours.
So I just essentially sort of did it live in the 2 hours.
Yeah, if there's mistakes, there's mistakes.
I was like, there's mistakes because I don't know how to use Audacity and fix this bit and fix that bit. So yeah, that's what
we use, Audacity.
Is it? Hey. I know how to use it now.
Some of the biggest podcasts in the world just use Audacity.
Yeah, it's just so much easier. But now, the radio show that I've got now is absolutely wonderful. So it's on
in the studio.
It's in a real studio.
I thought so, yeah.
And the studio, it's in a TARDIS. It's a literal TARDIS.
Okay.
It's so bizarre.
So it looks like a box from the outside and you go in, it's like, whoa!
Well, no, it's blue and Police Box and Doctor Who, and it's so great. But the station...
Where do you work? I work in the TARDIS. Yeah,
I work
of course
in
you
a
do.
TARDIS.
Yeah, of course you do.
Oh, but yeah, it's just wonderful. The station, it's called Fab Radio International. Going to give a shameless plug. So it's not just a rock station.
Do all sorts.
They're actually the biggest independent online station in Europe.
All right.
Which is I didn't realise, when at the time I joined them. But they've got tons of different shows. They've got talk shows. They have obviously got the rock shows and things like that. But they've got rockabilly, just tons of different genres.
Do they play commercial stuff or is it all
independent
stuff?
Because they don't really play commercial stuff, to be honest with you. And I don't know whether that's accident or design.
Well, if they got to where they've got without doing it, then why change?
Yeah, and I think there are adverts on it.
They've got to fund it somehow,
which,
haven't they?
But a lot of the adverts, people who've tuned into my show will know this anyway. There's one advert which always makes me laugh. I thought it was a genuine advert at first, and it's about a guitar strap, but the tag of the advert is massive black strap on. And I thought it was a real advert, and it's just all innuendo throughout the whole advert. But they've got all these funny little adverts I don't know whether it's to get around anything, but there are some hilarious
Make
ones.
You go, what did you just say?
The way my show works is the adverts are queued up in my show, so I often don't know what advert is going to come.
Right, yeah, just random.
I know that there's going to be adverts, I just don't know what they are.
Keeps you excited, doesn't it?
Yeah, so I'm like, when those sort of spoof adverts first came up, I was on my show, and even I was like, oh no. I've got all these stuff about strap-ons on my show. This is ridiculous. Well, I mean, thankfully everyone found it hilarious, and I just like leave them in and stuff.
Why not? It becomes part of the show, doesn't it?
I know. They're just so funny.
People tuning in. I'm just here for the adverts.
I know. I don't even know who's come up with them. But yeah, so I'm now in a real studio.
Is it in Manchester?
In Manchester, yeah. So the studio's in Portland Street, just near the Gay Village, and. Yeah, it's a real studio. I have actual technology.
How long have you been at that studio
So
for?
I started that in July. So
fairly recent.
This incarnation of the Rock Fairy show. It's a similar vibe.
2 hours as well.
2 hours. But this it's a better slot. It's it's Mondays 7 till 9.
At night.
Yeah,
that's good.
So it's a really decent slot, and because it's live, like I've got.
You're just all on your own? Have you got anyone in the studio with you?
No, I do it all myself.
Wow.
Which is sometimes you'll hear me on air going, 1 minute, because I'm like,
Ticket, you're not allowed to swear.
Do you know what? They're not that bothered.
Oh, okay.
I try and avoid it because, I mean...
Well, it's not really necessary, is it?
It's not. Just... I mean, like, in real life, I do swear like a sailor sometimes.
Yeah, well.
And I hang around with Scotsmen a lot of the time as well, and man alive. C words every second word with them,
But with a radio station, I suppose you've got to be a bit more just sort of down the middle.
Yeah, you don't really know who's listening.
Yeah.
And I kind of like the idea, because it's 7 till 9, it's not so late that kids wouldn't be able to listen.
True. Yeah. You might be alienating some adults might go, well, I'm not going to listen to that because my kids...
Because she sits there and F's and Jeffs.
Yeah.
Also, it's not becoming of a lady, is it? Effing and Jeffing on a show.
So what do you do about, like, do you get to say on what you play?
Everything.
They don't have like a station playlist. They say you've got to play a certain amount of these songs.
No, not at all.
Oh, right.
I can play whatever I want. So
what is your show actually called?
So
is it themed or
originally titled The Rock Fairy Show, because I literally couldn't think of anything else.
Well,
if anyone has a better suggestion,
it's also your name, but it's got rock in it. So.
Well, yeah. And I thought if anyone comes up with anything better, then feel free. But for the time being, that's what it's called. That's what it says on the tin.
Exactly. I was just going to say that.
But yeah, so it's mixed. It's sort of two halves. So I say that it's unheard music, but it's unheard music in the sense of obviously like new upcoming bands that are unsigned and that kind of thing. But I also play a lot of stuff from like my mum and dad's old record collection that is just...
So you've got pretty much good freedom then.
Yeah, random tracks from the 70s and the 60s that, you're not ever going to hear because it's some obscure album somewhere, but I've listened to it and thought, this is amazing. And I get to interact with my listeners on air as well. Which is really good because
is there a chat room that people can go to?
There's not a chat room. I tend to do it more just on Facebook.
Of course. Yeah.
So I'll pop a post up saying, I'm online at
what do you want to hear?
7 o'clock. What do you and people have like banter. Randomly, I've got quite a lot of pets that listen to my show, which is so a lot of owners obviously are really passionate about the pets and things like that. So we've got
I'm one of them.
We've got
two dogs.
We've got Rock Dog. So one of the guys that listen to my show, Derek, he's got the most gorgeous dog, affectionately known as Rock Dog, and he's really great. Like he'll post little pictures.
I've heard of this Rock Dog,
he'll post little pictures of Rock Dog, with an album, saying, "Can you play this?" and things like that. So and there's Hector. He's an English Bull Terrier, and so there's a few different pet fans.
Well, if you wanted to throw in a commercial song, you could.
I can do absolutely whatever I want.
That's pretty cool.
I sort of think with commercial songs, I mean, I have done.
Depends what it is, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a segment that I've just started called Bangers and Mash, which is so whenever
very northern of you.
It is dead northern, isn't it? Well, whenever I love a song, I tend to call it a banger.
Yeah.
And this Bangers and Mash segment is all about mashups. So two really generally well-known songs mashed together. So I've done you'll probably heard it on YouTube and things like that, but like Stevie Wonder and Metallica mashed up together. And
I can't remember what song it was.
Sad But True, or Sad But Superstitious, they've called it.
Yeah.
So that segment's tends to be more commercial because it's two really well-known songs that get played together. That's it's anything goes.
So
to be honest with you,
in advance, do you plan it then what you're going to play, or do you leave?
Well, I'd love to say
requests as well.
I'd love to say that I'm like, all week. Sometimes it's because my show's at 7 o'clock. Sometimes Monday 3 o'clock. I'm like, I better add stick some songs on my memory stick to take with me. It depends because I've got in my day job I've got a 2-hour commute either way. And
time to do stuff, innit?
Yeah, and I'm a big Spotify fan. I know everybody.
Me too.
Everybody, you know, it's a bit uncool to like it, isn't it? You know, it's destroying bands, blah blah. But it's not. It's great.
It's not destroying bands at all.
I know. I think it's great. I've discovered so many new bands through Spotify.
Yeah.
And I've actually got a playlist that I add to throughout the week. So if something comes up that you've never heard before, I think this is great. Boom, added to the playlist.
That's exactly what I do.
When it comes to a Sunday, I'm like, here are probably most of the songs I'm going to play on my show.
That's good. Thanks, Spotify.
Cheers. Spotify is a DJ. I love it. I've discovered so much more music. I mean, people say, oh, you know, it's ridiculous. It's ripping off bands and things like that. But I kind of look at it the other way around. So back in the day, you know, if you wanted people to find out about your music, you would possibly pay to, this is like really back in the day, really old school, but you might pay to have an advert in Kerrang or Planet Rock or whatever. And you would pay physical money. And when somebody read that advert, you didn't get any money for somebody reading the advert unless they went off and bought it.
That's it, yeah.
But with Spotify, it's a big shop window. That's kind of how I look at it. So you don't have to pay to put your music on Spotify.
No.
And
you can earn money from it.
You can earn money for it. So it is essentially, if you're thinking, right, I'm going to earn money from Spotify every time somebody plays and I'm going to be an absolute millionaire, then possibly you're looking at it.
Possibly you're an idiot.
Possibly you're an idiot, yeah. I was going to be nice, but yeah, you're stupid. But I just think that it's a big shop window. I've discovered so many bands that I would never have come across in a gazillion years.
That Discover Weekly thing.
Oh, it's ace, isn't it?
It's brilliant.
It's ace, and
it's
that
either new bands, but it's also bands that you've forgotten about.
Yeah, it's
or that passed you by from that certain I can't remember which band it was. A grunge band. I was like, never heard of them, but this is really good.
Yeah, sometimes you'll go and look up a band, and then you'll think, how
where was I?
30,000 streams.
I didn't get the memo.
Well, yeah, I love Spotify, I really do, and I think if you use it in the right way, so you can get, you know, I'm sure like bands know this anyway, but you can link up Songkick with it, so all of your gigs are on there. So if you know, as a fan, go onto an artist page,
you get everything. Some of them have links to like merchandise and stuff as well.
Exactly. So you can.
It's only going to get better. There's no doubt that there's an imbalance between CD sales have gone, and now we're left with streaming.
I don't even have a CD player.
But
no, genuinely don't.
That's just the way it is these days.
I haven't got a CD player in my car. My car didn't come with one. You know, and I've got
just a USB thing.
Yeah, you've just seen my car. I've got it's a new car. It's not a, you know, an old.
Either that or they've got
anything.
Bluetooth built in, so it just connects to your phone.
Yeah,
and you just
mine's
play
got
what's on your phone.
both. I just have it on the mount and right, Spotify, off you go.
What I was going to say was like the balance will come back slightly because they will increase what you get paid per stream eventually.
Yeah,
you don't get much, but it'll get better. And the more music you put on there, the more streams you're going to get because your back catalog is going to get bigger and bigger. But you need to be there because that's where people are listening. The
way I look at it, and this is something that I've said for quite a while, people say, oh, you know, there's no money in the music industry, blah, blah, blah. Right, it's a however many billions of pounds industry. So to say there's no money in it is just rubbish because there is. It's just in the wrong place. Yeah. That's all it is. Yeah. So you can sit there and whinge,
just get on with
or
it.
you can go and
adapt.
Where is that money? And I'm going to go and get a bit of that. Things like the record labels, the reason why Spotify's payouts are so small is because Spotify is tied up with so many different record labels who give them extraordinary amounts of money. You know, and whatever people say, there is a bit of the old payola going on with definitely. Spotify. And I posted a thing on my page. I don't know if you've seen these streaming farms, which are the latest things.
Yeah,
so
people pay them to just constantly listen to their stuff.
Yeah, so there's literally like this particular thing that I posted, it was a whole room of mobile phones. Honestly,
just going round and round on random.
Literally just streaming constantly different artists. God. Now, it was this one I posted, I think it was in Japan somewhere, and they've been shut down.
I was going to say, because you can trace IP addresses. If all are coming from the same IP address.
Exactly.
Like,
so they do get caught, but obviously, I mean, people will always find.
Now they've updated it so they can tell when you're listening without the volume, it doesn't count.
Oh, really? I didn't know
that. People would just listen to put their own music on, but turn the volume off and just have it on all day. But they can tell. I don't know how, but they can just tell now.
It's all very fancy. I mean, Spotify doesn't make any money. Well, no.
It does from advertising.
It does make money. That's the wrong word. But it posts losses.
Yeah.
You know,
it will for a while. It'll come around eventually.
It does make money. It just plows it back into the platform.
But it's supported by record labels, so they're going to cover any costs.
I think it's a great thing for music. I really do.
I mean, it started off with iTunes and that, but then it's migrated to because iTunes has actually gone. Digital downloads have gone. It's streaming only now. You can't actually go on and buy a download.
Oh no, you can.
Well, it's going. I read somewhere it's going. Yeah, they're just going to stick to stream because it's Apple Music.
Yeah.
So just like Spotify, just an app where you stream.
Yeah, because you can still buy tracks.
Yeah,
and
you buy the tracks,
no one ever does,
as in physically download the MP3 to your device. It's just streaming.
The only reason I know that is because sometimes I do it with my radio show.
Yeah.
Because I'm much as I could rip it, I can't really in good conscience sort of go, yeah, support new music, but I'm going to just sit here and rip everything. I'm not going to pay for anything.
Well, to be fair, I still sometimes, certain bands, like what was the last one? Marmosettes.
Oh, yeah.
I bought the CD. I've never opened it, but I listen to it on Spotify. But
yeah.
How else? That's the only way I know to like genuinely support them. So buy the CD. I went to see them.
Yeah.
I've seen them twice, and I just for convenience, it's on my phone.
Yeah,
that's how I listen to music. So
I don't even have a CD player. So I'll either if I love something, I'll listen to it to death on Spotify. Which everyone's secrets are revealed on Spotify, and you've got like you recently played, and you're like, shh, don't tell anyone. I've been listening to dance hall all week. But yeah, if I really like something, I'll be like, right, I'm going to go and buy the vinyl. Now, if a band hasn't got vinyl, and I know it's expensive, I totally get that, but generally, I'm not going to buy their music.
Yeah. You'll stream it.
I'll stream it, and I'll support them, go to the gigs or play them on my show and that kind of thing. But I'm not going to go and buy a CD because there's no point.
Yeah.
I'll go and... It's like last night, I was at a gig. It was interviewing the two bands. It was Mason Hill and Hollow Star. Kind enough to put me on the guest list. I went and paid the equivalent in merch because they're lovely, and they were like, no, you come in to support us and you're interviewing us, you don't need to pay. And I was like, well, don't sit right with me.
Yeah.
So like I say, I went and got the merch instead, and at least I know what money's going to them.
Mason Hill are good, aren't they?
There is. I love the whole new vibe they've got. Yeah. Like, let's chop off the hair. Management's gone. Record label's gone. They seem...
Where are they based?
Glasgow.
Ah, right. Okay. I want to get them on here.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll pop down. It's not that far.
I thought so, yeah.
But yeah, honestly, the vibe that they've got. I mean, yesterday, that's the first time I've seen them live. I think. Yeah, it is the first time I've seen them live since the whole new image thing. They're a different band, not in an uncomfortable way, as in, oh, it's not them anymore.
Yeah.
But they just feel more like them. It doesn't.
Do you think it happened a bit too quick for them with what was going on?
Possibly.
Because it did just come out of nowhere.
Yeah, I mean, they, in the nicest possible way, they were lucky enough to be able to dine out on one EP for a considerable amount of time.
That shows you the quality of the EP, though.
Yeah, definitely. But they haven't released any new music until the latest singles come out for quite some time.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes they're a young band, and sometimes you can get into that trap of everyone saying, you're the next amazing thing, you're wonderful. And there's a lot of people in the industry who don't necessarily have your best interests at heart. And this doesn't just
what you want to hear, don't they?
Yeah, it doesn't just apply to Mason Hill. There's plenty of bands who have, fallen foul of similar things. But I don't think there's that much of a support mechanism in the industry. So as I mentioned, like, my day job, I managed people for years, and if you're in a call center, just using call centers as an example, if you're not achieving your targets, then your manager will sit with you and find out why you're not hitting your targets and that kind of thing. But there's also a nurturing element, because you'll sit and go, right, okay, are they having problems at home? Are they, is there something not right with the computer system that they're using, or whatever it may be? And I just think there's a lot of bands who have little to no business skills whatsoever, and that's not to their detriment. That's just because they've not had to. They've not been in that sort of environment. Yeah,
all young musicians need to be told that it's a business.
Yeah.
If you want to do it for a long time, anyway.
Yeah. Well, you see so many bands, they'll get to a certain point and then they'll just implode. Because they didn't really know what they were doing.
Sometimes it's because they were good that things happen too fast and they don't know how to deal with it.
Yeah, and they've not really got anybody supporting them. And I think with sort of management, record labels and that kind of thing, I've turned a lot of bands away from management because I've just said, look, I'll happily help you.
Yeah.
Give you a little bit of advice and stuff, but you're not ready. Like, if you're going to be paying somebody, it varies, but, a couple of £100 a month or, commission, if you're going to be paying somebody, that they need to be getting you that much money in a month and more. Otherwise, what's the point?
Yeah, I've also, they should have targets for you, or you should have targets for them, each other. Like.
And I think as well, a lot, especially in the younger side of things, a lot of bands think when they get a manager, that's it. The manager's the boss, and the manager will tell them what to do. Hopefully, my bands will agree with this. But they're my boss.
Yeah, well, they're employing you.
They're employing me.
Yeah,
so
that's how I always thought it.
And don't get me wrong, I will say to them, have you thought about this? Have you thought about trying? But they said no.
That's part of your job to think, give them ideas.
Exactly. But if somebody turned around to me and said, I don't really feel comfortable with that, I'm not going, you must do that, or else
you
have to do what I say. But you'd be surprised how many of them there are about.
Oh yeah, but they're not old enough or wise enough to say no.
Yeah,
we don't think.
Because they think, it's my manager, I better do what
talk
they say.
amongst yourselves and say, no, we don't want to do that, so we're not doing it. But
so
we're just gonna go, okay.
Like I say, it's my job to come out with ideas, but my role as a manager, because that's one of the other things that I get up to at the moment. My role as a manager, I'm essentially, it sounds a bit poncy when I say it like this, but you're the CEO of a business. It's like you've got obviously it's not a multi-million-pound company. I wouldn't have a day job as well.
Yeah.
But you're employed to make sure that somebody's business is running as it should.
Well, I think younger artists, or not necessarily younger, but people inexperienced at the beginning of that journey need to be able to just concentrate on that.
Yes.
And somebody else
Very much so.
take care of that, because it's I know from experience, it's like, it gets to a point where you go, I need help.
Yeah. I don't always think though, like you say, the sort of the early stages, I think there needs to be more of a way of dipping in and out of management.
Yeah.
As in, so not necessarily paying somebody a retainer or commission, whatever it is.
Or like a 2-year contract.
I think there should be, right, okay, my social media, I need a bit of help with that. And this is...
Or your first album. Help us
just help
us
release it
get
from
us a tour after it and
from start to finish. And I think you should be able to, get help and advice with that. And that's one of the things, like I mentioned, obviously, that I'm wanting to do a lot more with the Rock Fairy. And this week, I've just registered as a limited company.
I was reading.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I've decided to go for it with the Rock Fairy in particular as more of a social enterprise. So
the Rock Fairy is not just a radio presenter; she's like a band manager. So she's like a
kind of a bit of everything. So business skills, for example. So in my day job, I am a consultant. So I will go into businesses and I will either they'll come to me and say, we've got X problem, can you help us fix it? And I'll work with them. But part of my job with that is to make sure that when I leave that business, if they've paid me X amount of pounds a day, I don't want to take that expertise with me and they'd be left with nothing. My job is to make sure that when I go, whatever has been implemented is running well. And I think translating that with rock bands in the music industry is something that I'm quite passionate about. And I don't see a reason why the two can't cross over. So that's pretty much what I'm starting to do. But I've gone more the social enterprise route. So the money that I do get in, it's obviously no money coming in at the moment because I'm just starting up with it as an actual business. But I want to be a bit of almost like Spotify in the sense of all my profits, if I make any, would go straight back into the business
to help it grow.
To help the bands. Yeah. So it's not designed. I'm comfortable with my day job. Yeah. I don't need to sit and.
You work full time?
I do.
So it's a lot to fit in, isn't it?
I do, but like I'm self-employed, so my day job is a business, so I can kind of do what
drop in and out of various things.
Exactly, yeah. So
you're not like stuck in an office where
no,
I can't think about this until 5 o'clock.
No,
that would be terrible. That wouldn't work, would it?
Not at all. And it's like some days I work from home and things like that. So it's absolutely cool with regards to my day job because it's my own business and I can kind of.
You've got to be good at time management.
Yeah.
Not distractions at home.
I know, it's terrible. I've just got 2 new kittens and they're just like...
Oh, God.
Sometimes when you work from home, you're like, should I get this assignment done? Or...
should I let this cat chase a mouse around?
Yeah, should I sit in my pajamas and play with the kittens?
It's got to be done sometimes.
I know. Well, yeah, like I say, I want to grow things as a bit more of a social enterprise. And there's ways to make money without taking money from bands. So things like I'm starting working with accountancy companies and things like that, developing products that are suitable for bands. Because one thing that I've noticed it's a bit, if you want to set up a band bank account, for example, if you want to go the traditional route, with a high street bank and things like that, they don't understand what a musician's income is like, and how sort of
it's similar to being someone self-employed, though, isn't it? Really,
it is, and a lot of the resources for self-employed people are not suitable for bands because of the type of industry. Because you can't narrow yourself down to one service anymore.
That's true. Yeah.
You know, because you're selling if you've got an announce, you're selling merch.
Yeah, that's one.
You're selling your music. You're playing live, so you need insurance. Again, this is
business insurance.
You know, people that have got an ounce. You know, if you're gigging and you want to be legit, because I know that, you know, obviously there's a lot of musicians cash in hand. Off
yeah, but you can only go so far with that, though, can't you?
Exactly. When you get to a point, you know, where you're taking a bit of an income and things like that, you need to make sure you're legit.
But like also coming up with new merchandise and selling stuff online. There's a lot of facets to it that you sort of it's got to be done properly. Eventually, when it gets to a certain point, you go, right, we've got to do this properly now.
And there's just the products that are out there to support musicians with that are not the greatest, if they exist at all. So I'm dealing with an accountancy firm at the moment, just looking at products that we can aim at bands, and obviously, you know, if bands start using those, I'll be able to get commission and that kind of thing. And
it's a good idea. It's a great idea.
But I want to get the income that comes into the Rock Fairy that I'm able to support bands with. I'd rather taking the money from the bands should probably be the last thing.
Because they would expect to pay for your services at some point.
Exactly. If you're getting something in return, like, you know, if I can give somebody 15% discount on a bank account, or, you know, whatever it may be, I want to get an income that way rather than taking money directly from bands.
I used to say, well, if we're going to pay X amount, then we want you to get us earning that X amount in gig fees.
Well, you've got to, haven't you? If you're paying somebody like £100-200 a month, and
get us that in gig money,
and you're losing that a month, what's the point?
Then that's that side of it taken care of. That's you know that's going to happen every month. It just doesn't make
any sense, does it?
But there's lots. It's complicated. It's more complicated than people realise, I think.
It is, and one of the things that I want to do, and again, you know, this is all starting up in the new year, get my website redesigned and things like that, is just give people tips. You know, so little checklists like, are you registered with PPL, PRS, things like that, because there's so many bands that don't even know what they are. You know, if I said those words to people, they'd be like, what? I don't get it. And some people are like, oh, well, what's the point of paying £100 to register with PRS because I haven't got £100? And well, mate, you're going to get more than that back.
That's one of the best things I ever did.
What, registering with PRS?
Yeah. Centric Music and all that, and getting royalties.
I love Centric. Absolutely buzz off it.
I didn't even. That was Raz. I'd never heard of it. I'd never heard of it. Didn't know what it was. We've been going for about 2.5 years or something like that. And we got with him, and he was like, well, first thing you need to do is this. I was like, what's this? Sign up for it. And it took a while for it to kick in because we were doing small gigs. By the end, every sort of few months we get, oh, here's 90 quid, here's 150 quid. You're like, oh, great.
Exactly.
For gigs that you did months ago and you forgot about, you're like, oh, great.
No, it's
becomes part of your revenue stream.
Did you ever get any deals from
Centric?
Did you ever manage?
Not really, no.
They seem to be quite elusive.
They're quite specific on their...
Yeah, I love applying for them, though, because I sit there and
I applied for a few, but it's like...
hard-paced rock track for car advert.
But what you find, though, when you find out what they are used in the end, it's like, it's just generic kind of like middle of the road, safe.
Well, they have to, don't they, a lot of the time? But if you do get one...
If you can get one, though, they're quite lucrative.
Yeah. Somebody was telling me, I was on a course a little while ago, and somebody was telling me about a guy who got his music picked, it wasn't through Centric, but he got his music picked up for Grand Theft Auto, either 3 or 4, I can't remember which one, and he's made in the millions.
Wow.
For that track now.
That's awesome. Because if you think about it, those radio stations in the car while
exactly,
you're driving,
there is,
that's a lot of plays, isn't it?
I know. But yeah, he's in the millions just off that one
balls.
track from Grand Theft Auto, and and he was like, he didn't have a website, Facebook, but nothing. His track randomly got picked up. And
have you heard that there's a McDonald's advert? I've only heard it on the radio. That's got what if maybe, woo, what if maybe.
Oh yeah,
if I hadn't met you, if I hadn't met you.
Yeah,
that is a band called Bromhead's Jacket.
I didn't even know that. I thought it were made for advert.
Well, so did I.
Yeah.
But I looked them up, and they're not going anymore. They haven't been going for about 3 or 4 years. So I messaged them, but they're just not active. They're not on. So I wonder if they knew. How have McDonald's suddenly found this? The song was released in like 2009 or something like that. And the band hasn't been going for about 4 or 5 years. How? I don't know how. But like, I was just because was it Virgin Media?
Yeah.
Who played? Clever Tack. They played that heavy metal song.
Carnifex.
Carnifex. Yes. That's the one where on the train. But they didn't get permission for that.
Did they not?
No. That was the whole But I'm wondering if McDonald's got permission of this band. Who did they just think?
Well, they'd be like, oh, they're not going anymore.
Yeah, we'll just use it. It's a really good song.
It is, yeah.
But it's not on Spotify or anything. I'm like, I want it. I want this song.
Yeah.
All I can find is these live versions and stuff.
I found, I played them on a radio show the other week, a band called Oceans on Mars. Right. The song's called Cold Blooded. And it came up on, I think it was Discover Weekly, actually. Yeah. It came up on. Now,
Oceans on Mars.
Oceans on Mars, Cold Blooded. The track is so catchy.
We'll put a link to it in the show notes.
Fabulous. I've no idea who band it. I don't know him or anything. But I looked on the Spotify, and it tells you how many streams people have got. They've got thousands and thousands of streams. So I thought, I have not heard of this band. Where are they? Went on the Facebook page. They've got 100 and odd likes. I was like, right, okay. Because a lot of people obviously judge a band by how many likes they've got on Facebook.
There is a certain amount you can glean from that, but not too much.
Yeah, I was like, 100 and odd likes. But it turns out the track got picked up for Match of the Day.
Right. So people go look it up, don't they?
So people have Shazam the track and then gone onto Spotify. Not bothered their ass to go and find them on Facebook or anything, because you're just like, I like that song, I want that song. Yeah. You don't always sit there and go, I must follow that page and I must go to every gig that this band is doing. Sometimes you just like a song.
But that's how people listen to music these days. Just
it is.
A song. They don't do an album, they do a song. Then move on to the next band.
It is. And I know there's the old romantic view of, it's all about the album.
It's an album's a work of art. You've got to how the artist intended it.
And sometimes it is, like Arctic Monkeys' latest album. I don't know if you've listened to that from start to finish.
I'm not a fan.
Do you know, I didn't used to like Arctic Monkeys, but I saw, on telly, I went there, but I saw the Glastonbury set a couple of years ago. And I was like, right, well, they're not as shit as I thought they were.
Happens with certain bands, doesn't it?
I know, I was like, ooh. And then started looking up the back catalogue a little bit more. I thought, ooh. And then they'd released AM at that time.
Yeah.
Fell in love with that album, played it to death, got it on vinyl, loved it. And then they hadn't released anything for ages. And then this latest album, what's it called? It's really uncatchy name, Tranquility Base Hotel and Casino. Right. It's the most uncatchiest name for an album ever. But it's one of these concept albums.
It sounds like it, yeah.
It is, and it's really bizarre. Like, it's designed, it's like a hotel on like the moon somewhere where old retired rockers go to die.
It sounds like stuff you come up when you're high.
Oh God, there was so many drugs involved in this album. But when it came out, I listened to it from start to finish, and at the time my dad was dead poorly, he's not with us anymore, but that particular album, it grabbed me because it just took me somewhere that wasn't where I wanted to be.
That's the bit of music, isn't it?
It is.
Escapism sometimes.
I tell you what, even if you don't like Arctic Monkeys, give that album a listen.
I will.
Because it's
is that the latest one?
That's the latest one, yeah. And it's just the lyrics. I mean, Alex Turner's a great lyricist anyway, but the lyrics to it are just batshit. But they're so good.
One of my gripes with him has always been the lyrics. I've just like, what?
I think because I'm Northern. I mean, you're Northern as well, but. Because I'm Northern, I think Northerners connect with Arctic Monkeys a little bit more.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
But then you've got the people that kick off because he's not writing about, sleeping with girls in clubs anymore.
Well,
but
he's certainly not a cliched writer.
He's in LA now, living the dream, isn't he? So
sometimes you're like, don't sit down because I've moved your chair and stuff.
I know, yeah.
Like, what?
One of my favourite lyrics is, you're rarer than a can of dandelion and burdock. Those other girls are just post-mix lemonade. Because everyone knows post-mix lemonade is shit.
I've never heard of it.
Have you not? It's, when you're in a pub and they give you lemonade out of the gun.
No, I think, yeah.
That's post-mix lemonade.
It says Schweppes something, but it's not.
It's not, no. It's like syrup and water. And it's just shit.
Yeah.
It tastes awful.
And the Coke's always watered down, so it's same in like a fast food restaurant.
Yeah, because it's syrup and water.
If you watch it goes... black, white, black, white, black, white. But as it goes on, there's more white than black.
Yeah, well, I used to work
what am I drinking here?
I used to work in pubs and in cellar because you can control how much syrup you're putting in it. But yeah, post-mix lemonade is a bit of a metaphor for shit. It's like the roller cola of lemonade.
Roller cola. If you're hearing like coughs and sniffles in the background, producer Tech's not very well, are you?
Oh.
I'm trying to turn the microphone off while I'm...
He went to see Slayer, and this is what he's like.
Oh, is this like post-gig lurgy?
Yeah.
It's a real thing,
It is when you go in the mosh pit like him.
That's what you have to... How can you go to Slayer and not go into mosh pit?
Sometimes you don't have a choice, do you?
I don't want to go.
Get sucked in. And you got a fag burn, didn't you?
Yeah.
Oh.
People sparked up behind me.
I was going to say, is that legal?
Probably not, but
you're not meant to be smoking inside.
It's not as if they were able to get out.
Ridiculous.
I thought this was just while they just standing. But I thought when he first mentioned it, I thought they were in the mosh pit. Like a professional, still got a fag on, like punching around while smoking a fag. It's like those drunks who fall down but they never spill their pint.
I know. That's an art form.
I'm not bothered that you're smoking next to us. You shouldn't be doing it, but I don't care about
But
secondhand
don't burn
smoking.
me.
Yeah, don't burn me.
Don't burn
You're
me,
asking
that's
too
all I
much, are you?
Oh, do you know, I've like a bit bigger and a bit fatter than I used to be, but I love a good mosh pit.
I'm not a fan. My days of mosh pits are over.
Mine are. I don't want them to be, but I get a bit of timber off. I'll be back in there. No bother.
Oh, it's brilliant.
Oh, I've had broken ribs and all
Yeah,
sorts.
I have.
Limp Bizkit was the worst one I ever had. 2004. There was like shoes and boots flying over, and then people with boots on kicked in the head, and then was it Fred Durst or Wes Borland had a water cannon.
Oh, really?
Their stage had this was in Australia.
Yeah.
Had a fence on it, but he had a gate in the front. He opened the gate. This big water. And I had like.
I was going to say it wrecks, doesn't it?
Yeah, they only did it for that one tour.
Well, yeah, they wouldn't. Lawsuit.
Because it was so hot in there, though. Everyone was like, yeah. But
well, I'm one of those. I've always called it gig rib. Because I have broken and cracked so many ribs. Because I'm a certain height. Obviously, I'm sat down at the moment, so you can't see that I'm a short ass. But the barrier at a gig only comes up to like there on me. Everyone else, it's like waist height. And I still am. I'm like, right, straight to the front. I'll queue up for days. And I want, if it's your favourite band, you want to be right at the front. But that comes at a price, which is generally like, because everyone pushes up right against you. I've heard my ribs crush and crack. Yeah. Oh, it's awful. Worst one was I went to see the Chili Peppers in Atlanta, and they weren't on till about 9 o'clock at night. But we started queuing at 7 in the morning.
Oh my god!
Oh, it was ridiculous. I'm too old for this shit now, but it was only a couple of years ago. But yeah, the worst thing about it was the gates opened at 11. So, for anyone that goes to big gigs, there's always what I call the barrier run. So as soon as they open the gates, everyone legs it to try and be first on the barrier. It's
quite dangerous.
It is really. Well, you get the they're not called bouncers, are they? Security guards and stuff, and they'll be like, walk, don't run, and everyone does this weird fast walk run thing where it's like,
and then they gradually speed up.
It's
like when the motorway when you go past the police car, everyone goes 70, and then as soon as like, oh, he's gone faster, I'm going back to 80.
As soon as one person runs, all bets are off.
I know, and then everyone and then the security guards are just like, oh, whatever, just crack on. But yeah, as soon as you get to the barrier, you've got this sacred about inch of metal in front of you, which you can grab onto for dear life when things get a bit rough later. But yeah, in Atlanta, it was torrential rain all day. It was a big outdoor festival. It got to about 3 o'clock, and I was like, I've got 6 hours of this. I need a wee. I can't go because if I go, I'm going to lose my place in the barrier.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever had to try and hold in that for that amount of hours. It's painful.
Yeah.
If you're a bloke, it's a bit easier because a lot of you just go in a bottle or whatever,
if you get
don't
kicked
you?
in the gut, it's not.
Well, yeah, I suppose.
You're like, oh, I'm going now. I didn't.
Yeah, as a woman, you can't really just. Well, I suppose you could if it were raining.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to be any wiser.
But
yeah, no, but that was just off. I got to about 3 o'clock. I can't do this anymore. But then somehow I stuck it out because I think the people that I was with, I don't think they could have faced the whinging afterwards if I'd have not been able to get back. They were like, come on, stick it out. It got to 9 o'clock when Chili's came on, and I just forgot. I forgot that everything hurt and that I'd been there for ages for that, hour and a half. You're just in a complete different world. And of course, when everything stops, I'm like, I need the toilet so badly.
I need to go now.
Forget you all.
Then you go back to a mosh pit. Get out.
There was Chili Peppers again. I think they're the band that I've probably seen more than any other band.
Apart from Massive Wagons.
Do you know, they're probably on a par.
Oh, wow.
I know.
We'll get to Massive Wagons later.
We will. I could talk for Britain, by the way. This is
fine.
Be here for hours.
That's why you're here.
Hours and hours. But yeah, I was in a gig in Milan. watching the Chili's. Like I say, I was bankrupted myself pretty much, putting everything on credit card because I went like watching him around Europe. But Chad, a drummer, threw his drumstick out into the crowd. This young Spanish girl caught it. She was obviously dead proud, and these two blokes just set on her. And she was like on the floor clutching this drumstick for dear life, and they were just like booting it. Oh, it was just awful. And you just think,
for a fucking stick.
It's a stick, mate. You know, I'll go and buy you one and write Chad on it if you're that arse. But
that's bad, that.
Sometimes things at gigs can get a bit
people
brutal.
died on those crushes, haven't they?
Yeah.
I can't remember which band it was. I don't know if it was a Queen, because did you see the documentary film?
Oh, I cried.
It's good.
I love it.
I think it was one of their gigs where people in like that, when they open the doors,
yeah,
all
and
the
then
doors
everyone...
didn't open. Some of the doors didn't open.
Ah,
so
right.
People had to cram through a couple of doors, and some people fell over, and then.
I know it. Did it happen at a Guns N' Roses gig?
Yeah, Guns N' Roses as well. I think it's happened to Pearl Jam as well.
Yeah.
It's just like
must be.
But I wouldn't
feeling
want
in the world,
the band
though.
to know. I wouldn't want to tell the band.
I know, that's what I mean. Can you imagine if you was a band and you realised that some of your fans had died seeing you? That's just awful.
The other alternative is if you cancel a gig, but then everyone's got to get out through those same doors.
Oh yeah.
So you might as well let everyone enjoy the show while they deal with them at the back, and then deal with it later.
Oh, it's just awful. Don't bear thinking about that though. But yeah, Bohemian Rhapsody, what a film.
You've seen it now, haven't you?
Yeah.
It's
what
good.
What did you think?
He's not a Queen fan, you see, and he liked it.
Are you not?
No, not really.
It's a bit of a funny one.
Yeah, I'm a massive Queen fan.
Yeah, I'm a massive Queen fan. That's the Queen are pretty much where I started my love for rock.
In terms of like songwriting and like how to write a good song, they're pretty up there, aren't they?
Well, I was like, I must have been about 5 or 6, and my mum's got Sheer Heart Attack on vinyl. And in the, I think it's a sleeve. It's not. Oh, it's the cover where Freddie Mercury's sort of lolling about, but he's got black nail varnish on.
Yeah.
Now, as a 5-year-old girl, I'm 33. I'm not from the dark ages, but you know, I'm not the youngest. And a bloke wearing nail varnish at that time was bizarre. Like, my dad was quite a blokey bloke as well. You know, he was a squaddy in army.
Yeah.
So, and I was like, oh my God, who's this? Why is this man wearing nail varnish? And that's literally how I fell in love. And there was a video of, it was a Top of the Pops special, like, you know, these Christmas specials that they do. But it was a taped one. It was on a video, and it was a compilation from lots of different years, but most of them were the 70s. And I still to this day cannot find this particular
on YouTube
special. No, I found bits, like I can recognise certain performances, but I just want the full thing. But Mark Bolan was on it, and again, I must have had a real love for makeup when I was a kid, and it was all round about the same time. He had glitter on his cheeks, and I was like, "Mum, look at that man's wearing glitter." My mum loves Mark.
Think you didn't come across Rob Halford then?
No, I know. Yeah.
Look at him, he's leather.
But yeah, so Mark Bolan and like Freddie Mercury, and that's pretty much where rock started, because my mum sort of like played me the songs and things like that, and I was like, oh, I love these songs, these are amazing. As a kid, I had no idea what half the lyrics meant. I always remember Sheer Heart Attack has got the lyrics in the sleeve.
Yeah.
As things, I miss that. They don't always do that anymore, because
yeah.
I've got so many songs that I've just made up words to, and you find out the real lyrics, and you're like, well, that's not what I've been singing for
I'm going to stick to my made-up lyrics.
The last 20 years. My lyrics are better, actually. But yeah, some of Queen's lyrics can be quite risque.
Yeah.
But
very good though.
I remember there's a song on the album called Flick of the Wrist, and there's a lyric in there that says prostitute yourself. And when I found out what the word prostitute meant as a kid, I was like, oh, that's a naughty word.
Take it literal.
Yeah, the man in the black nail varnish says a naughty word. And I used to think I was dead cool, you know, like walking around singing it and stuff. So yeah, that's where my love started. But Bohemian Rhapsody, whether you're a Queen fan or not, I think is an amazing film. I think it's actually going to do a lot for the rock world as well.
I think so, yeah.
I think people will be pleasantly surprised by it.
Really well in the cinema and the box office.
Yeah, there's a lot of. Well, you said you weren't a Queen fan, didn't you, when you went? So
it was just well, I kind of am now.
Yeah,
but I like music, but I wasn't a particular fan.
Some of their songs you must like, the odd song.
Oh yeah, of course. Like, I've heard the songs.
Yeah,
and you're always surprised by how many songs
that you know. I know, yeah.
That's
like
exactly
the whole album, I know that. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, yeah, there's been quite a few sort of scandals with that film.
There's a few discrepancies.
I mean, Sacha Baron Cohen was supposed to be in it, and I'm glad.
He would have been wrong. He would have been wrong for that.
So glad that all got kiboshed.
They had to sacrifice a bit of the timeline to make it fit in the film.
I mean, I think some sort of die-hard Queen fans, which I'd probably regard myself as close there, but it didn't.
I was prepared. I already knew about that. Not what they were, but I knew that. But I knew that there was some. I was going to be disappointed, or I would say that's not right. That didn't happen then. But
yeah, because like when he found out he was
way
poorly,
later.
That was way after.
That was like 88, 89. It wasn't long before he actually died.
You're not going to watch a documentary.
No.
You know, you're going to.
It's still the story of the band.
Yeah. Did you forget that you weren't watching Freddie?
For a while, yeah.
I was like, and the guy who plays Brian
Spoiler
May,
alert, by the way. There might be some spoilers going up here.
Well, I think everyone knows the story.
But that opening scene where he goes up the steps onto the stage.
Oh, for Live Aid.
Yeah. I was like, wow, this is if like
it's insane.
It could have been him.
Yeah.
Like it was like going back in time, but in HD.
Have you seen? There's a video doing rounds at the moment, and it's Freddie Mercury's Live Aid performance and Rami Malek. It's a split screen.
Yeah, I've seen that.
And it's literally
they went through every performance, every song.
Yeah.
To get his mannerisms and his.
It's crazy.
It's like wow.
He deserves an Oscar for that.
Yeah, they reckon he'll get one.
Unbelievable. And the guy that plays Brian May as well in it. I don't know who casted that, but that's genius casting. Because I was like, have they put a wig on Brian May?
Yeah.
I did
there was
wonder.
Points when he actually sounded like him, not just acted like him, but physically just sounded like him.
But without the wig and stuff, he looks nothing like him.
I follow them on Instagram now.
Yeah.
They keep putting the same pictures up on all their own things of them, but one of them's not there, but they've got a cardboard cutout of them in a different country because they're still going on promoting the film. I'll tell you what, that'll break some records on the DVD, Blu-ray thing when it comes out.
Yeah.
I'm already going to pre-order that, definitely. Because the extras on that.
I'm all for it. Do you know, I don't have a DVD player ever.
What? You not got a DVD or a Blu-ray player?
Sit there on bloody Netflix.
Well, it will come on Netflix eventually.
It'll come on Netflix. Yeah. Well, do you know, it's a good point though, because if they have
extras.
If they have a commentary, that'll be amazing.
The other thing that brought authenticity to that was the fact that the band were involved.
Yes, it wasn't
like how he got in the band. The conversations that happened in the studio were all what actually happened because the band were there, so they can sort of make it
exactly.
A bit more. Obviously, some things have been slightly altered, but
some things.
But generally, you're not going to get many better.
Well, apparently, the Bohemian Rhapsody scene. I'm not going to do too many spoilers, but some of the words that were said about the song by record labels and things, it wasn't quite as bad.
Ah, right.
It was Mike Myers.
I think it was mixed. Yeah, I didn't know that until
I
afterwards.
know, I didn't.
He's like Mike Myers, isn't it? Was he?
I think that's really cute little nod to Wayne's World.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
It's dead sweet.
It is good, that, yeah.
Very clever how they did that.
Because that when that came out, Wayne's World 2, that put that song back in the charts.
Yeah.
Was it 91, 92 or something like that?
Was it that long ago?
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
I remember when Wayne's World came out.
It was definitely in the 90s, I think, and it was the early 90s.
It would have been the 90s, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Because Wayne's World 1 and 2 were just great.
They were quite near each other, those two.
Yeah, they were.
But yeah, they were classics.
I know.
Classics.
Do you know, I love like music films.
Yeah.
And it's weird. Like rock as a genre, as we often talk about, is... I hate using the word mainstream. I sound like such a hipster. Mainstream, yawn. But yeah, in the mainstream, it's still a little bit of an underdog genre.
Oh yeah, I think it always will be.
But when you look at the films and stuff that, like music films, the ones that are based around rock, so like Almost Famous, which is my my all-time favourite film ever.
Yeah.
It's just like the rock ones are always better, and I don't know if that's because I love other genres of music as well, but Wayne's World is a huge film, whether you're a rock fan or not.
Yeah. But it's funny as well.
Yeah, a lot of that is around rock culture.
Yeah. I went to see a Coldplay documentary the other night.
Really? How was that for you?
It was a lie. Well, I'm not a massive Coldplay fan. I like a few songs, but any band, whether it's a documentary, a story, a film about them, I'm always interested.
Yeah.
But it was streamed all across the world on last Wednesday in cinemas.
Oh,
live,
was it? Oh, I
just
didn't
a
know
one-off.
about
I think
that.
it's gonna come out at some point.
That's quite cool when they do that, though.
But they've never, because if you think Coldplay, what do you know about them? Could you name any other member of Coldplay?
No.
Exactly. I couldn't either.
That's so bad.
But going back, they filmed everything. Luckily, they had someone back in the day filming them, and there was a spoiler alert. There's a part I think they filmed in '98.
Right.
So when they got the first few gigs, there's a footage in the car park of Chris Martin going, in 2002, so in 4 years, we're going to be one of the biggest bands in the world. We're going to be headlining Glastonbury. And it fast forward to 4 years and 3 days, and they are. Exactly that.
Really?
There's no way he could have thought that was actually going to happen.
No.
But it's just the way.
It's quite the two bands that I interviewed last night, so Mason Hill and Hollow Star, who are amazing. If you've not seen them, I
have, yeah.
I just bloody love them. But yeah, I asked them. I won't tell you what they said, but one of the questions that I'm going to start asking the bands that I interview is, what do you want to have achieved in the next 12 months? Like, where do you see yourself for 12 months? So I'm going to write it down, and I'm going to go back.
Document it.
I'm going to go back to them in 12 months and then see
how they've got on.
What's come true and that kind of thing. So I've got my first 2.
I think that's good. If you tell them that you're going to do that.
No, that's what I said to them. I said, I'm going to come back to you in 12 months and then see how far you go. Because they were, as soon as I said that, they were like, oh, all right, well, we need to make it a bit more realistic. I was like, no, whatever. Why do you need to make it?
Let's be honest.
What is realistic?
Yeah. For some people, it'd be like, just still going.
I know, yeah. But it's daft. Like, a lot of bands do put limits on themselves before they've even started.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
I'm going to sound cheesy as hell now. People are going to think I'm a right loser. But in my office at home, I've got a vision board.
A what?
A vision board. So
I've not heard of a vision board.
It's really geeky. But basically, you have a notice board, and you pin up pictures that, if you've got a particular dream or a goal, that link in with that vision.
Yeah.
So I've got on there some of my favourite bands, and pictures of things like, the crowd at Live Aid and that kind of thing, all stuck up on this vision board. And the 2 bands that I manage, similar.
Who's the other band that you might know?
Black King Cobra, so they're quite new to my roster. I did them in September.
Obviously, we've had the King lot on here.
We have, yes.
That was a rather good one.
I know, I really enjoyed that. They were really nice about me as well, and I didn't.
Why would they not be?
I didn't pay them. So
oh, that's why. Okay.
I didn't pay them to be nice, so I don't know why they were. No, it was lovely that they were so nice. But yeah, a lot of like bands that I love, not necessarily just bands that I manage, and sort of the things that I want to achieve with the Rock Fairy. I've got them all stuck up in my office.
Right.
So that I can look, and some of them, I'm not going to share everything, but some of them, some people would go, shut up, Lauren, that's not going to happen in a gazillion years. But a lot of the things that a couple of years ago would have thought were entirely impossible are already happening. So I think with bands, there is no if your goal is to play Wembley and people laugh at you, sod 'em.
Just keep going.
Just if that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. But I think that's we mentioned earlier about bands imploding and things like that, and maybe they get big really fast and then they don't know what to do. I think one of the main reasons for that is that when bands first get together, they don't all talk about what it is they want to achieve as a band. It's like, oh, well, we want to get signed and we want our song played on this radio station and stuff like that. I go, no, not what everyone else says success is. What is it for you? Because you might have one person in the band who just doesn't give a shit about money or anything. They just want to gig every night. They don't care whether it's to one person or a million. They just want to play. And you might have somebody else who is really well off and doesn't care about money. You might have somebody else who's like, no, I want this to be my full-time career. Well,
part of the other option is they don't talk at all about it.
Yeah.
So when it gets to a certain level, they go like, well, we need to step this up now. We're going to have to start like taking more of our holidays from work to put towards a band. And then they find out one of them goes, well, I don't want to do that.
I don't want to do that. Yeah.
We've got this far now, so now you've got to go.
I'm starting a family, so I don't want to go around the world.
Or I'm moving away. Yeah, it's like... Oh.
Or I've knocked my bird up. That's
So that's game over.
Game
Bye.
Over. Sorry. But yeah, I think bands, and this is what I said about the support side of things in the industry. There's a lot of wonderful people in the industry. It's not all doom and gloom by any stretch of the imagination. But there's a lot of people who don't really understand how to have these sorts of conversations. And if you are managing a band, for example, or you're working quite closely with a band, those are the conversations that you should be driving them to have.
Yeah, definitely.
And sometimes you might find that, things don't work out because you've had that conversation. Because in a band,
but that's a good thing.
Well, actually, it's better
the sooner you find that out, the better.
Better to break up now than
get somebody else and get the right person in
2 years' time or whatever. So I think it's.
Imagine if you had to pull out of like an O2 Academy gig or something because some dickhead couldn't be asked to get off work or something.
I've seen it happen.
Yeah.
I know, I'm not going to name the band, but I know a band who they landed a support. The band will know who I'm talking about, but I'm not going to name them.
Yeah.
They landed a support slot with, it was a buy-on, and it was with Motorhead. Way obviously before Lemmy had passed and that kind of thing. It was a buy-on. They'd all agreed that it was a buy-on. They bought onto it, not cheap at all. And then the drummer decided, oh yeah, I'm going away with my bird for one of the gigs, and they lost it.
So they're all on, innit?
Yep.
Oh shit.
That band's not together anymore. Just saying.
Wow. That's unbelievable.
And that buy-on was insane.
What do you mean? Like the opportunity?
Well, both the opportunity, but the money.
Oh right, yeah. But had he already paid?
They'd paid.
So the drummer had paid his portion.
Everyone
Everyone
had paid. They'd actually taken out a loan. Everyone had paid, and the drummer. But it was dead like blasé. I don't know whether they got the money back and all that. I don't know how that worked.
I'm guessing that's got something to do with his girlfriend. I mean, my experience.
I think it probably. But it was quite. They hadn't been announced, which was a blessing, because it would have looked really stupid if they'd have been announced and then that drummer's off on holiday with his bird. Wow. But yeah, can you just imagine?
I would not be happy.
You'd have killed that drummer.
Yeah, you would have. He wouldn't have been the drummer anymore.
Yeah. Well, they imploded not long after that because they wouldn't get it was like, do you get a dep?
Yeah, you could try and do something.
If he's going on holiday, do you know what I mean? Get a dep. You're supporting Motorhead, mate.
I'm sure plenty of people would be like, yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah. I'll do it. Yeah. You don't have to pay me, I'll pay you. But yeah,
that's when you go to that length to find out something like that. Like,
yeah,
you could have known about him, that he was like that if you'd.
And do you know what? It happens all the time.
It does. It's part and parcel of it, really, isn't it?
Such and such a band is pulling out of said gig due to unforeseen circumstances.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I hate that. Unforeseen circumstances really winds me up. It's a conversation like Black King Cobra, I started managing. Unfortunately, the lead singer was really, really poorly. It was a good few weeks ago now. It was a smaller gig that they were playing, but it was the night before. He rang me and he was like, "Oh, I was grim. There were some noises that you don't want to hear as a manager." And thankfully they're really good. It was like, "Do you do the unforeseen circumstances?" And but the thing is, as soon as you say that, people automatically go, "Ooh, what's going on?" There's this whole big story being made out in your head. But he was great. Like, we made a whole big joke out of it, of how poorly he was, and how he was literally tied to the bathroom for the.
Of course, yeah.
So yeah, everyone on Facebook that's been a running joke. But yeah, sometimes people are human. You have to pull out of gigs.
Yeah.
That happens, especially vocalists.
Yeah, well, they're more at risk of things going wrong.
You can't control your own body sometimes.
If you can't sing, you can't sing.
I have had it, doing gigs before now where my voice has gone mid-gig.
Yeah, I have too.
Isn't it horrible?
Yeah. Luckily, our bass player was quite good at singing, so he could.
Oh, really?
Over, yeah. One time, a guitar strap literally the screws came out of the. It didn't just come off the hook; the whole thing came out. So, just when I was about to start singing. But he just knew what to do. He just started singing while I was off stage getting sorted. Yeah,
you were lucky there.
Stage crew was helping me screw it back in.
I remember one gig. I'm not very well. You saw me being a bit wobbly on step. I'm just terrible at balance and steps. I'm sure I'm having flashbacks from this thing I'll tell you about. But I was at a gig, and for some reason, I thought I'm going to wear heels on stage for this gig. I think we can all guess what's coming. But this was before the gig had started, so we'd just done sound check. And there was a step off the stage, and there was a wire on the stage. And so I took one step down, and I just stood on this wire, wobbled. And then before you know it, I went face planted right in front of everyone in the venue. That was before I'd even sung a note. I've obviously done the sound check. Really, really hurt myself, but obviously couldn't let on.
Yeah.
That hurt myself, and I had to play a full gig with an absolutely bust up knee. In pain, and obviously just mortified.
You're just adrenaline then, isn't it?
It was just like...
the only thing that
even
goes through is adrenaline.
Started my set with hands up, who just saw me fall ass over tape.
You did you?
Yeah, because I thought I'm going to have to... I can't not mention it, because...
It takes the pressure off you.
Yeah.
If it's left, if you've not spoken about it, you think, what are they thinking about it? They're looking at it, they're laughing at me, but just make a joke of it, and then it kind of the tension's just gone then.
Yeah, I tell you what though, I mean, I don't really gig anymore. I've not got the confidence to do it and things like that. All the time. Like everyone else's gig. So I think people sometimes forget how much it does take for people to get on stage in the first place, even if you've been doing it a long time.
Yeah.
you know, it's a difficult thing because you put in everything on there. Like, people judge you for how you look, how you sound,
everything,
how you move, what clothes
instantly
you're wearing.
as well, straight away.
Yeah, oh yeah, within 30 seconds.
But I used to feel that sort of pressure, but then you realise, yeah, but I've got an hour and a half to
win them round.
If so don't panic, it'll be all right. Just do what you do.
Yeah, I've done it. I think everyone does. You know, you look at a band and you go, these are not for me.
Yeah, and then halfway through, you're like,
I like these. Yeah.
I always look for the person who's like this. They're not here for you; they're here for somebody else. But you got like, I'm gonna zoom in on that guy.
Have you ever walked out of a gig before because you were just like, this is so bad?
What, as a punter?
Yeah. Have you walked out of one not as a punter?
I've walked out. Technically, I have, yeah, but I wasn't there for them anyway. I was probably there. Like,
right, okay.
I was like, this is not for me. I'm gonna go and get a drink, or I'm gonna go for some food as well. Come back later. I try to give every band a chance.
I do.
I give them a few songs, and then I'll go in the middle and I'll come back at the end and see if it has the crowd changed, have they turned it around, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But not so much. I've gone, this is terrible. I am out of here. I want my money back.
I did it for a Steve Vai gig.
All right.
Yeah, it was so bad.
Was this like?
Do
you think this was like an isolated incident, or do you think is he that bad?
Well, no. I mean, obviously everyone loves Steve Vai, and I've interviewed him, and he's a lovely chap. But it was what I would call fret wankery. Yeah. And it was a bit like, oh mate, I'm half an hour in, and are you on the same song? Are you?
I also think that Dragon Force. I kind of like them, but it's just too much like just for the sake of it. You know, like, you've done that for like two songs now. Give me a song.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of bands that interact with an audience.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to stand on stage and perform. Yeah. And I know people, you're not a monkey. You're not there to, to please everyone. But if you want,
you are there to put on a show, though.
Yeah, if you want to jam, go sit in your rehearsal rooms, mate.
Yeah. That's true.
I do love a good jam where people are interacting with the audience, though.
Yeah. Massive Wagons are good at that.
I love Wagons, as you know.
Did you listen to Baz on here?
I did listen to Baz on here.
He's alright, wasn't he?
He's so funny.
Only took me a year to get him.
He's in demand, that chap, now, isn't he?
Yeah, he certainly is. They're doing rather well, aren't they?
They're just a little bit.
I'm not surprised, though.
I first saw them playing to 4 people in my local.
I played with them to 4 people.
To 4 people.
One of our first gigs out of town was with them.
Yeah.
There was nobody there, but it was just like,
they've crafted, though, aren't they?
Well, they were brilliant back then. And this was like 5 or 6, 7 years ago.
I've been trying to find it, actually, because I had to review that night, because there was 3 bands, and actually only 2 of them are still around. So the first band, because you might know these because you sort of worked and played in a similar scene. So there was the Goddamn Electric.
Yeah.
They're not around anymore, are they? No. So they opened. Then it was Defy All Reason.
Don't know. I'm not sure I know.
They're Welsh. They've gone as well. Right. They're doing other things, but as a band, they're not around anymore. And then Wagons were headlining, and I had to write a review of that night. And it was a metal night, but they decided one week they're going to do more of a rockier night, because obviously those 3 bands are not really metal. But yeah, so I had to do a review, and I was like, oh, crap, there's no one here. Goddamn Electric were alright, Defy All Reason were alright. Wagons came on, first time I'd ever seen him. I got to interview them as well, and I was like, they're really nice chaps, they're alright. Baz on stage, I was like, this guy needs an arena.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous how he's twirling his mic stand.
Oh, he's just got it all, hasn't he? But they're one of the first bands for me that taught me, like, doesn't matter what the crowd is, just give the same performance.
Yes. Very much so.
Have you seen the Twisted Sister documentary?
No, I haven't, actually.
Twisted fucking Sister. I just bought it on Blu-ray. But they used to do, back in the day in America, they used to do like 5 sets a night, where you'd do one at like 3, then you'd do one at 5, and then at 7, then at 8, then at 10.
Oh, right, okay.
But the band, this is how they got their image. But when they started doing that, there would be nobody in the afternoon, so they would just wear their street clothes.
Right,
and then as more people came in, they'd put some makeup on or do their hair. And by the 9 o'clock or 10, like, had the full show.
Yeah.
But then in the end, Decent, I was like, no, we're going to go on at 3, and we're going to do the full show every single time. What if those 4 people don't tell their 4 friends? And then they bring more people. Or those, if there was like 10 people who we just went in street clothes and gave a sort of alright performance, that's potentially 10 people we've just lost.
Yeah.
We could have gained 10 people.
Oh, what a ledge.
So I was like, yeah.
Oh, I'll think about is it called Twisted fucking Sister?
Yeah. That's,
all right. It's passed me by, that
it's
one,
really good.
It?
Really good. Yeah.
Didn't even know there was one out.
But it documents them all the way up until when they wrote we're not going to take it, and
Yeah.
until they got big. So it's like, which is probably the more important part of the story, the struggle.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Stuff like that. It's really good.
Well, yeah, they're just a live band.
I used to hate them when I was young. I used to ask, why?
Wash your mouth out.
But then I used to be more like,
was it a
based on what they look like.
jealousy thing?
No, it was more like, no, it was more like, when you're young, you're like, what do they look like? Well, why would I like a band like that?
I mean, I love him, but and actually no, I tell a lie. They have slickened up a little bit image wise, but there was always like a few guys from pub on stage. Do you know what I mean? Like image wise, it wasn't a slick thing. But their
image thing was to stand out, to be different. And
that was different.
Dee Snider's like, I'm going to beat the crowd until they like us. he was intimidating because he was so tall. Yeah. And he wore heels. And he's just like God, crazy. Yeah. But it's a good story though. I recommend it to anyone.
But yeah, there's definitely I'm trying to think of other bands that have. I think Wagons were the first sort of band on this. Like, I hate saying that there's two scenes. That's awful. Like, because you've got like arenas like Metallica and stuff, and then you've got your sort of unsigned bands. But they were the first band, I think. They were like, holy shit.
Yeah, same for me. Yeah, it's just like,
wow. How is this happening in my local?
But I always think those are,
it didn't cost me anything to get in.
Exactly. But Wagons and bands like that are the ones that I think could change people's perception. Those people who only go to the big gigs.
Yeah.
I think they don't go to the small gigs because they
think it's going to be.
They already think it's going to be like amateur bands who are shit.
Yeah, it's going to be.
But
no offense to college kids, but like a college
get
band.
Those 50,000 people to just go and like spread them out into these venues and film with all these bands that we know are awesome. They'd be like blown away by like sometimes it'd be better than the bigger bands that they just saw.
I know.
And spend £100 for. You can spend a £5 and see 5 bands.
Have you seen those damn Crows yet?
No, I know of the music, but I've not seen them live.
Oh my days! Right, so there's a running joke, and do you know what? I mean, even going to include like my own bands that they've supported and things like that. There's a bit of a running joke that because all they're playing is at the moment is support gigs, fairly high profile ones.
Yeah.
But every single band I've seen them support, and bands that are damn good, they've absolutely wiped the floor with.
Yeah.
I would never go
Follow that.
I would never go on stage after those damn Crows. And we were joking that we need to start a helpline for, have you been supported by those damn Crows? Because you're going to need therapy after absolutely being wiped clean. I tell you, they're just an insane. I think they're from Bridgend, and there's tons of bands from that, especially like. I'll not say Lost Prophets, that's a terrible example. But they were good before he did his things. But yeah, a lot of the sort of Welsh rock scene, there's some absolutely amazing bands. Certainly from when I was growing up as a teenager, the scene there was great. And it's good to know that it's still there. It's like, so those damn Crows, like I say, that if you ever get the chance to see them, hands down, they're one of those. But similar to the thing with Massive Wagons, they're a lot more polished. Then so obviously when I first saw Wagons, it was it was like, I'm not sure what these guys are going to sound like, and then they started and you were like, wow, those damn Crows, straight away that they're slick, they know what they're doing, and they're playing venues that are too small for them. Do you know what I mean? They're absolutely, and they're playing gigs that are too small for them.
At that level, you've got to sound and look like an arena act for anyone to take notice of you. Yeah. Otherwise, if you just look like some band from the pub, then they're just going to annoy you. They just
supported Wagons last night, actually. I was at
where was that at?
Gig. That was Wrexham.
Oh, right,
they played.
Yeah.
I went to see Hollow Star Mason Hill in Chester.
Chester, what was the venue?
Live Rooms. I'd never been there before. It's actually all right.
Yeah.
Pretty cool venue. I wouldn't mind going there again for a few gigs.
How many do you think it holds?
Oh, I'm shit at that. I'm
couple hundred? Was it busy?
Yeah. And do you know what? It's quite interesting about it. So they're supporting the Dan Reed Network.
Yeah.
I'll be completely open. I went for Mason Hill and Hollow Star rather than Dan Reed Network. They've done a few gigs.
Sounds like an IT company.
Doesn't it? The Dan Reed Network. But yeah, they've done it. They're both supporting on this tour. They've done a few gigs now, and some of them have been weekday gigs, and every single one has been rammed.
That's a
absolutely. So when it's been promoted by Planet Rock, which obviously helps, a big leg up. But it just goes to show, people say, you put a weekday gig, there's no point doing that because no one will come out. And do you know what? If you do it right, they will. If it's the right band and it's the right, it just goes to show. But the thing is, you can't, stick an event on Facebook, invite all your mates and go, oh, no one's turned up to my gig. Well,
you've got to be good, but you've got to know how to promote it as well.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, having Planet Rock promote your tour.
Oh, yeah.
Which, that,
yeah.
That's it.
But they have a role to do things like that. They should be supporting more stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely.
Get promoted. I was going to go back to your
Sorry,
your business. No, it's fine. Your business side of things. Do you ever are you going to write stuff down, have or a blog or something about your business advice and stuff?
Yeah, so I started and I'm trying to sort of plan it out. So I want to make sure that I'm giving people advice on what they want. So I've been working with a few bands and saying, so experienced bands of what sort of things would you wish that people had told you when you started out? And also some of the newer bands of what do you want to know? A lot of the newer bands, they don't know what they don't know.
That's true. Very true.
So I really wish somebody would tell me how to register for PRS, so they don't even know that it exists.
I was wondering.
But yeah, so I've got a little bit of a structure in place, and sort of in the new year, like I say, I'm getting my website redesigned stuff because there's only so much I can do myself technically.
Exactly. You need a team.
Yes, I do need a team, but yeah, I'm a bit crap with technology. I can see it in my head. If I could get somebody to drag it out of my head and put it on a computer screen, then it'd be great. But yeah,
IT mini you need.
I know, yeah. I need just a big whole IT team. But yeah, because there's three main things I want to concentrate on. So there's the business side of things, and then I'm going to hopefully get a YouTube channel set up and stuff because I do
a podcast.
Do you know, so many people have said that to me and I'm just like, I can talk for Britain, as you know.
Yeah, but if you're doing for your stuff, it'd be more structured, you know what you're talking about.
Well, yeah. I was debating the old podcast. I might tap you up for some some advice.
I helped Paul McMoney set up his
did you?
Woodstock one.
This setup's great.
Well, yeah, but if you
the only thing is with a podcast though, do you not need someone else to talk to?
It depends. Some people, lots of podcasts
every podcast I've listened to though is always between
two people
or more.
Well, no, lots of people just do one. Like I listen to some news ones where it's just people talking about the news. They just, but if you're giving out advice, then you've already written it down. You just basically read it out, aren't you? But you could have guests on it. Why not?
Yeah. Add more work to my life.
It's fun though.
I know it is. No, I definitely.
I think it's more engaging though to watch it or hear it rather than read it or something like that.
I do because
that's where things are going.
I know. Well, I'd started it out as I'm going to do all these articles, and I thought nobody can be asked.
Yeah,
reading.
That's it.
Even I get bored now. I'm like, I've written the thing and I'm halfway through it and can't.
You'd have your own clients; they'd probably read it.
Probably not.
Well, you'd hope they would, but it opens it up to more people.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't necessarily normally? They'll just be able to find you and go, I didn't know about this.
Yeah.
And just.
Well, I like this is a bit sort of off topic with rock, but I like looking at other industries and how other industries do things. So I don't know if you've heard, and anyone that's a rock fan will not really have heard of this chap, but Jeffree Star.
Nope.
So Jeffree Star started out. He did an effort at being in a band and stuff like that.
Right.
But he's one of the these YouTube personalities, YouTubers, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah. An influencer.
An influencer. Yeah. He gets millions of views on his videos. So a lot of it's around makeup, so obviously it's not going to be
so what does he do?
relevant. So he literally sits there and he'll like the latest lip gloss. He'll sit and try it out and go, but he talks about how the makeup industry works on his channel. Right. So he'll sort of, and now as a result of like the money he's earned and things like that, he's got his own makeup line.
Wow.
And he's regarded as one of the absolute dons of makeup. And it's really interesting watching how other industries start using technology and things like that. And so much of that can, like I say, he doesn't always sit there reviewing his own products or anything like that. In fact, it's very rare he talks about his own products. It's always other people's, and a lot of bands think that they need to sit and talk about themselves. It's like, I've got this album coming out and I've got this gig coming up. Actually, do you know what? If you start lifting up other bands or go out to other bands' gigs and post about that and that kind of thing, and that's one thing that Jeffree Star does that I think is actually really, really relatable for the music industry.
Right.
It's very, very interesting how he's done things and might nick his business model.
Yeah. Why not? I took this model from the Joe Rogan podcast.
Fair, yeah.
It's pretty similar, but it's just applies to the music industry.
Does he have fairy lights though? Well, lights.
I don't know. He's got good lights.
Yeah, he's got good lights. You know, it's just so lovely and sparkly. I like it.
Thanks. People
I noticed when I walked in.
People are all surprised when they get here.
This is dead good.
I don't know what did you expect?
I don't know what I expected, but this is so pro.
Because you could do your podcast in the studio, where you do the radio show if they'd let you.
I'm sure they would.
But what else does it get used for? Lots of other things where a radio station? Like, are you just one of a long line of DJs?
Just other DJs. But my office, so my office is presently full of King Lot merch. But it has the potential to actually be quite a nice space. So I might set something up in there.
Have you got anything planned for the King Lot other than selling lots of merch?
Other than selling lots of merch. Well, I've just got a container to start putting everyone's merch.
That's what I was going to ask you about. I was wondering what that was for.
There are other things. So
this is going out tomorrow, by the way. So if there's anything you do or don't want to mention, go for it.
Whatever.
Because sometimes it's like a couple of weeks away. They go, it doesn't matter.
Right, yeah. No, I think it's a cool thing. Like, it's like, it's premises. It's a little storage container. That's all it is. So obviously I'm going to put my band's merch in there.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I want to do, I mentioned that I wanted to do a lot more with supporting bands with business skills and things like that, and how I wanted to fund that in slightly different ways. Not necessarily like, band, pay me for advice. And one of the things that I'm going to do, I'm really into the environment and being sort of eco-friendly and that kind of thing. So one of the things I'm in the process of setting up, I don't mind people knowing, is a bit of an eco-rock shop.
Right.
So things like festival products, for example, like bamboo toothbrushes, I love glitter. And as I mentioned with the whole Mark Bolan thing, glitter is really, really bad for the environment, but you can get biodegradable glitter. And that's really used at a lot of festivals and things like that. But just I'm working out what products I think are applicable, but things like the little foam earplugs.
Yeah.
They're terrible for the environment.
Right.
Most of them, you stick them in 1 gig. That's if people use. I mean, I know not everyone bothers with air protection at gigs, but the little foam ones, sort of 1 gig off you pop. Then you can get a step up, which is sort of, you might use them a couple of gigs and then they've had it. But just things like being a little bit less disposable with things like water, water bottles and that kind of thing.
You need to come up with tents, reusable tents.
Yes.
Have you seen some of the sites after the festival?
Absolutely.
Oh my God.
Awful.
All that stuff that's there, you need to work out how do we make that so it's like biodegradable, or we can like recycle it, or get them all fixed and use them again.
Well, I've started. So obviously I do the King Lots merch, and it was a learning experience for me doing merch, especially like as volumes start increasing and you're like, oh crap, I need a more efficient way of doing this. But I was very much like t-shirt, mailing bag, see you later, and that kind of thing. I started using t-shirt boxes, the cardboard boxes. They're still really, sturdy. They're, touch wood, everyone's said that they've arrived in one piece so far. So getting away from plastic mailing bags and using the boxes. The latest reissue of a CD is in an eco pack, which is a new type of way to have CDs. So you have your jewel cases, which I personally don't like jewel cases. The plastic ones that you just...
The standard ones,
They've always got a big crack down the middle from where you've whizzed it somewhere. Obviously, they use quite a lot of plastic. Digipacks have got a plastic inner.
Yeah, they have. Yeah.
These eco packs have no plastic on them other than the CD itself.
Yeah, that's good.
They have no plastic on them whatsoever.
They always break anyway, those inside and out.
Exactly, they do. And things like helping bands being more sustainable. So why are you shrink wrapping your CDs?
Yeah, what is the purpose of that?
Because literally all you do is take it off and throw it in
the
bin.
Someone sits saying,
I know, you're like, I can't get it.
Somebody got some nails.
Yeah, has anyone got a key? And I'm just going to key my CD to get it out.
That was one thing that made us do them in advance. We used to get let's get 100 and sign them all in advance.
So I want to sort of start this eco rock shop, but also supporting bands with fulfilling their merch in more sustainable ways. And that might be, me fulfilling it for them with the
right.
Because obviously with anything, when you buy more of something, it's cheaper and that kind of thing. So if I've got a container full of boxes and things like that, I can support bands with fulfilling the merch.
Idea.
So there's the two sides, basically. But yeah, a lot of it is around being more sustainable, and there'll be some random things in there in my little eco rock shop, which hasn't got a name yet. So what you heard it here first. That's what the container is for.
We used to do that. We used to get a random thing and just put it in random orders.
Yeah.
So people get it and go, oh, thanks.
Yeah, I did a batch for the King lot, and it was for a pre-order of a T-shirt, and everyone got like a little Haribo and a sticker.
Yeah,
things like that.
Yeah. Sometimes I'd write I'd handwrite a note to I'd pick someone and go, so I don't know that person. I saw that in my gig, so I'll write them a little note and just put it in.
Do you know, it's so bad because I do all the merch. I look at people, I see sort of fans of the King lot, and I'm like, oh, you live in this place and you wear this size.
Yeah, some people are like, I know that. Yeah.
There's some wonderful fans who, as soon as the latest T-shirt comes out, they'll order a new one, and they're so supportive.
Yeah. And as you go along, the amount of people who do that grows, doesn't it?
It does, like, wow. And it's lovely to see. But yeah, I think I'm possibly going to be fulfilling a few more bands' merch.
Have you got capacity to manage anybody else?
Have I got capacity? Yes.
Have you got time?
Have I got time? Yes. Because much as I hate to say it, the more bands you manage, it's not as much work because you've got a bit of economies of scale.
Yeah.
But for me personally, and this is not necessarily for everyone, you can. I know, and this maybe sounds a little bit arrogant, but I know that I could go and get 10 bands and manage them. Because I've got that many people that approach me and I say, actually, you're not ready. And I could happily, sit there and take people's money and stuff. But for me, I don't feel like I would be doing right by a band if I didn't absolutely adore their music.
Yeah. I can understand that, yeah.
You
have a passion for the band as a whole, haven't you?
Yeah, like I say, that there's managers who will stack up the rosters, and that's
take the money.
Completely fine.
Yeah.
That's a different business model. But and sometimes, don't get me wrong, you can get there's a bit of a flip side of if you really, really adore a band, actually, can you make the right decisions for them? There can be an element of that, but I like to think I've got my head screwed on enough that I know actually I'm thinking with my heart on my head here.
You wouldn't just take on any band because
no.
they're going to pay you. It has to be the right band.
Yeah, I think I've always said that I want to keep, from a management perspective, I want to keep my roster really small. Because I'd rather.
You're going through a lot of changes as well. You want to get everything in order first before you sort of expand.
But I think taking bands on, as in from a development point of view, so. Like you mentioned before of, I need help with this album release, taking bands and working with bands in that capacity.
Yeah. So what has been your role with the 2 bands that you manage now?
Everything.
From the ground up. First advice, let's start again, lads.
No, they will tell you. So the first thing that I do is a bit of a health check. So, right, okay, is your music registered in the right places? Have you, all that kind
Cover
of thing.
Cover all the bases, isn't it?
Yeah. So see where they're at, first of all, as a band. Then look to find out what they want to achieve as a band. So every band's different.
Different aspirations, isn't it?
Exactly. Find out what they want to achieve and then work together with that band to find out the best way of getting there. And then a lot of the time then I will go off and
do you go to rehearsals
and do
stuff
said things. So with me, my 2 bands are both Scottish.
It's quite a journey.
Yeah. So I've got one. So Black King Cobra from Glasgow.
Yeah.
King Lot are from Edinburgh.
Yeah.
Or West Lothian. So I'm not exactly local. I do sort of conference, group video tech. I'm like, what's it called? Video call.
Yeah.
Sort of video call, ring him, talk to him all the time. Probably talk to him more than a lot of my
some of your
mates.
family.
That's probably true. So I definitely don't feel like distance is a massive issue. With regards to rehearsals, though, it's quite interesting that you mentioned that. So I've got to think about rehearsals where I think that they always need to, it's really important that they need to happen.
Oh, yes.
Just
because you're gigging a lot doesn't always mean you should just forget about rehearsals.
So some bands are like, I haven't got a gig for a little bit, so I'll rehearse a couple of weeks before, It's like, no, your rehearsals need to happen. But I also think band time's really important. So one thing I encourage with my bands is if you don't want to rehearse every week, which is cool, I'm not a dictator, I'm not saying you have to rehearse every week or anything like that, but I think you should still get together. So if you
go for a pint.
Yeah, so that rehearsal time, every whatever, Wednesday night you're going to be rehearsing. Actually, if you can't be asked, sometimes you don't want to sit and
have a laugh.
Go out for a Chinese or something, and that kind of thing. So I do encourage bands to spend time together as bands, and because if you're
going to be together for a long time and spend a lot of time with each other,
because some bands are like work colleagues.
It almost is that kind of just it's like going to work,
and it's like I shouldn't know more than what as a manager. I'm not saying me, because I'm lucky that my bands do spend time together, but some managers will know more about the band's personal lives and things like that than the bands themselves, which is a bit,
shouldn't be like that.
It's a bit strange. But I do get involved in sort of the wellness side of things with bands as well. It's
like a health check,
literal health check. So it's really important to me that bands look after themselves, like physically and mentally as well. It's no secret I suffer from mental health issues, and I think with the music industry in particular, people are going to be a lot more susceptible to those things. So I encourage meditation, which I don't know if you've ever used the Headspace app. Genius, love it. It's an app called Headspace, not sponsored by them. Really wish I was. I would make a fortune for how much I talk about it. But it's guided meditation, so they're like 10 minutes, and basically what you'll just play it for 10 minutes, and it's a bloke, like the founder of it, talking you through these meditation exercises, and there's different ones for different moods, like some for anxiety and depression, some for weight loss, some for there's a lot of sporting ones which are actually really applicable to musicians, so like getting your head in the game type, that kind of but it's meditation, and it is sort of clearing your mind and things like that. I mean, I know like some of my bands use it before they gig. Right. So I know like Jason, he will sit in the tour bus. Tour bus. I mean, it sounds bigger than it is, doesn't it? A van. So Jason is a vocal tutor as well, so he knows that vocal health is really important. So he'll go away in the van and warm up his voice and that kind of thing, but he'll also meditate. As a few of my other people that I work with do, which is really good, especially if you're on the road and that kind of thing. To make sure that you've got that quiet time yourself.
I think that goes with the bands, like looking out for each other as well. Yeah. Being friends and seeing if everyone's all right.
Yeah. So I'm a general bit of everything to... I mean, probably the question would be better placed to my bands, really. What do you see Lauren's role as? Sometimes it's... she's mothering me because I've not done this.
She's like a teacher. Didn't know my homework.
One of them said that to me the other day. I've actually set them homework before, just as a laugh. So one thing that I think bands don't do enough, and I don't just mean my bands, but is watching themselves back.
Yeah. We used to do that a lot.
So the homework.
Some people don't want to watch themselves, do they?
I know, but it's something you have to, don't you? I mean, the homework that I set one of my bands once was, I've got one video here. What I want you to do is I just want you to sit together, watch it. 3 things that you think are mint about that, and 3 things that you think, oof,
need a bit of work.
Going to change that. But I want you to make sure that you're not looking at yourself. And that was the homework. Watch, because it's easy to look at yourself.
You know what you do, so watch.
Exactly.
And you don't normally get to see what the other guy's doing because you're busy doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
You're like, I didn't know you guys did, because sometimes the other band will have a little thing. I didn't ever notice that.
Little quirks. And
you'll go, keep doing that.
Yeah.
Or like, don't do that.
But I always watch my bands back, even like fan footage. I think fan footage is often more revealing.
I think if you can come across pretty well on some shitty phone, thing, then you're doing all right.
Yeah, filming it.
It's always going to be there, so just get used to it.
For fan footage, so I mean, someone's amazing. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes you see some shaky effort that's got like someone's pine in the middle of it, and
we were playing tunes before, and Metallica have just released Justice for All remastered.
All right, yeah.
But they've also released like old live tracks and demos and stuff.
Yeah.
And they've got some soundboard recordings from like the Justice tour in 88, 89, where you can't hear the crowd. It's literally the
just
instruments
from
straight
the board,
into the board.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it sounds like, considering how fast they're playing, how aggressive they're playing, moving around.
Yeah.
It's just amazing how they can still. It's like I don't know. I was just surprised by how there was no mistakes. Well, there's odd wobble in there, but everyone makes mistakes.
Especially that early as well.
I was just surprised
it's
by
not
how
like the seasoned at that point.
Yeah, you just put that together, and it just sounded. I was just surprised. I was expecting it to sound a lot worse. You know what I mean? As a soundboard recording, but because it's raw, you know what I mean. There's no processing going on. It's just pure.
Do you know? There is a bit of smoke and mirrors, though. You never know how much production's gone over it. Like there's a lot of bands, and I do get it.
But there is a lot of mistakes in it, like flub notes and stuff.
Oh, right. So there is still.
But
I've not listened to it.
Overall, just generally how good it sounded.
It still sounds really polished.
Yeah, because if you put most bands in a raw situation, just go, they would be a bit like, oh my god.
Yeah. See, I always remember. I talk about Chili Peppers, but Chili Peppers at Slane Castle, like one of their DVDs.
Oh, yeah.
That's overdubbed.
Yeah, most of them.
I know, and sometimes though, when you watch things and like when you're younger and you don't realise all the smoking, you're like, this is amazing. I actually had tickets to Slane and had to sell them. Devastated.
Oh shit.
Devastated. And I thought I was right.
Oh, no.
I know, can you imagine?
It's just another gig, isn't it? No, it's really not.
I watch it sometimes and cry in a
Can
corner.
you say why you couldn't go?
I can't remember. It was something. I think. Oh, I remember. Thanks, call centre that I used to work in. I wasn't allowed the time off.
Oh my god, it's even worse.
So call centres, holidays were very much like if you pull a sickie because you've already asked for the day off, you're going to end up in a disciplinary and all that. And when you're a kid, you think that that's the end of the world.
Kiss were the worst for that.
Really?
They used to go in the studio and like redo the whole thing.
I'm not,
some of their early live.
I know it's not popular, but I'm not a fan of Kiss.
No, I'm not either. But like their Kiss Alive album was like one of the biggest selling live albums of all time. But it was completely redubbed.
None of it's live.
They basically just went and just played the tracks live in the studio in a controlled environment and just added the crowd noise over the top. Like
they're mad for merch, though, aren't they?
Oh,
like,
shit hot. Gene Simmons is like a machine.
He is.
Everywhere he goes, he has to mention Kiss.com. Every interview, he always does it.
Yeah. Like Kiss coffins and everything.
Oh, it's everything you can think about. Chris Jericho's got a podcast, and he was at his house doing it, and he was just while he was thinking, "Oh my god, I've just noticed that over there's a Kiss coffee machine, there's a Kiss pinball machine, it's just everything. It's just Kiss. Where it's like absolutely everything.
Kiss toilet roll, Kiss shampoo.
Oh, this is a Kiss chair. I'm sorry.
Do you know? I was in Home Bargains the other day, and there was a Kiss lunch bag.
There you go. They're just becoming mainstream.
Yeah, but it was like Hello Kitty. You know Hello Kitty? That little thing? It was a Hello Kitty Kiss lunch bag.
Because their logos are becoming just people recognise them. Like it goes back to the whole thing of people wearing like Nirvana or AC/DC t-shirts that they bought in Topshop or Primark.
Or Asda.
Yeah, with no idea. No, or Ramones is the famous
The Ramones,
one.
yeah,
no
Ramones
idea
is a big
who.
one, innit?
I'm always tempted to go stop them in the street and go, "Who's the bass player?"
I know, yeah.
What's the second album called?
Do you remember? I think it was at one. Well, probably all of them. Which one of the Kardashians? I can't remember which one it was, but decided they were going to do. They did Tupac, they did the Doors, and somebody else where they sort of had the logo and then like put their own faces over them and stuff,
right, yeah.
and then released this whole range. You know, trying to tout it as them. I know the Doors estate got involved and were like, nope, I don't think so.
Like, hold on a minute.
You can sack that one off straight away. But yeah, merch. I mean, most bands now probably make more money off merch than anything else.
Yeah. Touring in general.
Not even necessarily just touring though. Like some bands make money off merch without touring.
Well, yeah, it depends on the band, but for the majority, especially like the mid-level ones, it's like it's all about the tour, isn't it? It's all about you've got to go out. If we want any money, we've got to go on tour. Yeah.
Touring's expensive though as well.
It is, but it used to be about the album, now it's about the tour.
Yeah.
It's swapped around, hasn't it?
Yeah.
But there's a lot of pressure on it because...
Does a band need to gig to survive though?
To survive? It depends. If they've got a big back catalogue, no. If they haven't got much music out there.
I had this discussion the other day about... Because sometimes there's situations where you can't always gig as much as you'd like to. And... I sort of think...
Depends what you mean by surviving, I suppose.
Can you still make money without gigging? And can people still find out about you without gigging? And I think
it's possible.
So I think that you need to go out and gig. It's great, don't get me wrong, but I think it's a bit of a fallacy. Because...
Go on.
I know. See, I'm probably making a rod for my own back here, aren't I?
Carry on.
Yeah. So... if you think about it now, we have got more ways than ever before to reach people.
Yeah.
So you can spend however much you can go to and play. I always make this pub up because I don't know if it exists, but the Dog and Duck. You know, you can play.
That's the Dog and Duck pretty much. Every town's got one.
Everyone's got one. Yeah, you can spend £100 for a hotel petrol and go and play to 10 people in the Dog and Duck, or you can get your shit together on your Facebook and have a Facebook Live of a gig, and you can have people buying your music that way. Or there's a thing called Stage It. I don't know if you've heard of that.
I've heard of it. I can't remember what it is.
Well, you charge people like £1 or £2 to watch it.
Oh yeah.
It's penny.
Yeah.
Pennies. And you'd probably make more money off that
than
you would going out.
It's not as fun though.
It's not as fun. And I'm not saying it's like people shouldn't go out and gig or anything.
I get
like
what you mean. Yeah.
But I'm just saying people sometimes think that that's the be all.
That
and
would take the pressure
all.
off touring, because then I think you should only tour when you need to tour.
Yeah.
If you've got a new release, obviously it makes sense to go and play to people. If you've got some fans, they're going to want to hear it. They're going to want to see you. But I suppose, that would. In the meantime, you could do stuff like that. That would make sense.
I think so many bands, like I say, situations change sometimes, and so many bands are like, crap, I can't get this gig that I need, or I can't get the time off work to tour, or I haven't got the money to go on a tour, or anything like that. And go, right, okay, count to 10 and think, right, what can I do?
Yeah. They could have their own podcast.
I
know lots of musicians who, in their off time, do stuff like that and make money from doing it.
Yeah. And
there's lots of things you could do.
So I think I know it's a bit of a double-edged sword, but with the internet now, you can reach so many more people from your bedroom.
Yeah, pretty
much.
Do
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's crazy. And people don't always
You've just got to get a bit creative, haven't you?
Yeah.
Be a bit more, because obviously whatever you do, there's a million other bands trying to do the same thing.
Exactly.
You've got to get your head above everyone else. And things like that, thinking outside the box, that's what you've got to do, basically.
But yeah, I do, like I say, I think you have to tour is a bit of a... do you know what? There's a lot of sort of singer-songwriters who played a gig in donkeys.
Yeah, that's true. Like, some bands can live or survive off their back catalogue if they've got enough of a back catalogue and it's good, I suppose.
Or they can survive with one song on Spotify.
That's true.
In the case of Grand Theft Auto, dude.
Yeah. I look at some bands and it's all about what is their monthly listeners or their monthly streams, and then sometimes like 20,000, 30,000 a month.
Yeah.
That adds up, and you do get paid for it.
Yeah,
so it's like... It's not all doom and gloom, but...
Do you know, people love a doom and gloom in rock industry, don't they? Oh, people don't go to gigs, people don't buy music.
I always think about you and Matt Jones.
Don't compare me to Matt, for God's
what I do
sake.
Is I look for one of you that's posted something and go, all right, has the other one commented? Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah, because we argue a lot, don't we?
Get the popcorn out.
We argue tons, don't we?
Oh, it's all good. It's all good banter, isn't it?
It is. Do you know, Matt used to be, Pledge Music?
Yeah.
So we used to have some rows online about Pledge Music because I've always loved it. I've always thought, it's absolutely great. You don't need it.
Oh, he used to be against it, didn't he?
And he was so against it.
Andy Pilkington was the one who turned it around for him, showed him how it couldn't be done, and now he's all for it.
I know, and I just think, well, it's amazing how many things.
That's another thing about approaching, like, it's not touring, but it's approaching your release in the right way. Yeah. Doing a pledge campaign, like,
I love Pledge. I think it's
you're giving your fans some really cool stuff, and it makes you think, like, what could we do? What are they going to care about? What are they going to want? It's not just the same old stuff. I
don't know if you've ever seen it, and I've always encourage bands to watch this. But there's TED Talks.
Yeah, definitely.
There's a TED Talk called The Art of Asking.
Yeah,
and I cannot for the life of me remember. It was Amanda something. I really can't remember her name. That's really bad. But it's like 10 minutes or something like that. But I always encourage any band to go and watch it, because a lot of bands are very much like, I don't want to ask anyone to buy stuff. It's sort of like, it's begging. Like with Pledge and things like that. And she started off. She was a street artist.
Right.
These statues.
Yeah.
She was one of those. She's a musician as well. But she did things like she kipped on fans' couches and all sorts, and she's making a tidy living just because she's asked people. Actually, I need somewhere to stay. Can anybody help me? And they, she sums it up much better than I do. But I definitely think with Pledge and things like that, there is a lot to be said for just asking for your fans' help with something. and not trying to be the big sort of, it's fine, we can do it. You know, behind the scenes, you're like, crap, I haven't got enough money to pay for this CD, and I'm going to work 5 million jobs, and you know, it's just if there are people that love your music, if you've got great music, I always think there's ways for it to get out there. And like I mentioned, you know, when we started, there's billions of pounds in the music industry. It just needs to
tap into it.
It just needs to go in the right place and change.
Like those pledge campaigns are always also a way for like your fans to be part of the album.
Oh, I loved
like,
it.
They're doing it together. Like we couldn't do it without you guys.
Yeah.
Like, you know, get the name mentioned in the
exactly,
and
I
love stuff like that.
It's not even a hollow thing. Like I helped the King Lot with their pledge campaign, which was earlier on in the year, and you can either approach a pledge campaign as, crap, we haven't got enough money for our album, let's just ask people to give us money.
Let's get the fans to pay for it.
You know, there is that, and that, to be honest, fans will see through that, and you'll not really hit your goals.
Hit your targets.
But with the King Lot, it was genuinely like, you know, let's be part of it. So we gave sort of sneak peeks in the studio and things like that. One of the things that we did is we asked fans, we said, well, if you want, we'll record a cover song of your choice. Don't matter what it is.
Oh, I remember this. Yeah.
And then we've just
random choices.
I know. Oh man, there were some great ones. But yeah, I mean, they've just released one of them as a B-side now.
Oh wow.
A cover of She's Like the Wind.
Holy shit balls.
Which is amazing. And that
never would have happened otherwise.
That never would have happened. Do you know, let me think of the songs that were covered, because we posted it, so it's common knowledge now. But yeah, there was Michael Bolton, How Can We Be Lovers? Little Red Corvette.
Right.
Suicide Blonde.
Are these people just throwing them? I'm going to cash them out.
Exactly. You think, but yeah, there was All Bar One, and I can't remember what the last one was, but All Bar One they were a really similar vibe of
a classic kind of.
Yeah, and I mean the guys did amazing jobs, and even you know the fans were made up with them, like they've all shared them in fan group and stuff like that. But that sort of stuff would never happen.
Yeah,
like, you would never sit together as a band and go, why don't we record a cover of She's Like the Wind? I think we should. I mean, you just wouldn't, would you?
But you're doing it for a good reason, and it sort of inspires you because you're doing it for your fans.
Yeah, and I think fans are. So I talk about, you know, the music industry being a business and things like that. I think some bands would benefit from remembering a bit more about the fans, not because they're being horrible to fans or anything like that.
You're just forgetting about them.
Just forgetting about them, and they're the most important people. So you've got. People whose goals are like, I want my music to be played on Planet Rock and you know, Radio 2 or whatever, and I want to play this venue, and so actually, like, remember while you're chasing that's all wonderful, but remember who's coming along with you. Yeah,
exactly.
You know, if you want your stuff to be played on Planet Rock, speak to your fans and say, where do you listen to your music? Where do you find your music?
Or they'll say, all you guys, message this radio station, request us.
Exactly.
And then I end up on there. I've seen that happen before.
Yeah, work with your fans. They're the most important people. I'm going to have to mention it because I've done it on my social media quite a lot. So there was a little bit of a thing that I come up with, and I still stick to it. And a couple of people do use the hashtag. So the hashtag is EBNAB, right? It stands for Every Band Needs a Bruce. Now, I don't know if you know him, but Bruce Fleming.
Oh, yes.
Everyone knows Bruce.
Absolutely, yeah.
So Bruce is like one of the most passionate fans you would ever hope to meet. And if he likes your band, you're all right. You're set for life, because that guy will travel. He went to watch Wagons in Wrexham last night. He's from Scotland.
Yeah.
You know, that guy will travel to your gigs. He'll buy your merch. He'll tell the world about how awesome your band is.
Yeah. He owns everything we've ever done. Every T-shirt, every CD, everything we've ever done, he owns it.
He's just mint. And so yeah, I started this little thing of like Every Band Needs a Bruce. And I'm going to do a little bit more with it, I think, in the new year, because I think people like Bruce, they're more important than getting your song on radio.
Every band could do with a few of that for your Bruces.
You know, and let your fans be the people that
they're the most important thing.
Without a shot. I mean, look at Wagons.
Apart from your music.
Yeah, but do you know what? If you haven't got any fans to help you get that new music out
No,
there,
but you'd still.
But yeah, no, you
create any music.
Your music is the number one.
Yeah.
You know, without all the
closely followed by your fans, your hardcore fans, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if you look at Wagons, I mean, obviously they're great at what they do, but would they be doing what they do without because they've got hardcore fans? Wagons
Certainly have. Yeah.
You know, and I'll probably count myself.
Yeah, me too.
You know, in that as well. And they're the ones that have got Wagons there. That's not thousands of pounds of a PR budget.
No. That was definitely the fans, because they've always involved the fans in everything they've ever done.
Yeah.
Always.
And they've always been great at interacting with fans, coming chatting to people and stuff like that. So I absolutely think that every band needs Bruce.
I agree.
Shout out to Bruce, who probably won't be listening, but yeah, and I think that's so fan experiences. I think working with bands for that kind of thing is something that I'm quite passionate about as well. And dialing things back. Whilst you're chasing your lovely airplay and you review. I mean, like music reviews. I write music reviews, so I'm probably creating a rod for my own back here. But the only people that read them are bands.
Oh, definitely.
And music reviewers.
Pretty much. You don't get your casual listener like making choices on these reviews. They just don't.
Most
people come across music like we do, like on a digital forum. They go, "Oh, I like this. I'll go and check out this band." Or that's about it, really. You don't.
Yeah.
Oh, this I don't like this. This is a bad review. I will ignore this band. That just doesn't happen.
They just don't, do they? So like you're like, oh, I must pay a PR company. No offense to PR companies, but I must pay a PR company £500 a month to get a shed load of reviews that no bugger's ever going to read.
It's a bit outdated now, isn't it?
I think back in the day, it was crucial.
Well, the magazines were the only place where you could get
because that was
like
the only place you could find it. But now,
it's a very small.
That's why I think the rock industry's maybe not blue. Well, not blooming. It's not really appropriate to say it's not blooming, because it is in its own way. But
in certain aspects, yeah.
Yeah, but when people are sort of saying, "Oh, this isn't happening and this isn't happening," and blah, it's because a lot of the old ways are still being used. And if you look at other genres like your hip hop and things like that, who are you've got grime, Stormzy get into, he's headlining Glastonbury.
There you go.
And the guy didn't have a record label or a manager. You know what I mean? It was crazy. Yeah. Can you imagine it like an unsigned band from rock industry going off to headline Glastonbury at the in the current state of things? And I just think you don't have to always look to rock to find your inspiration. Like I've said, Jeffree Star is a makeup artist, and I find inspiration from him with business ideas. And Stormzy's a grime artist. Go and look at what he's doing, because if you do what you've always done, you'll get what you've always got.
That's true. Scuzz TV's gone.
Scuzz has gone, yeah.
So that's a sign that people aren't watching videos.
It didn't move though, did it? Didn't move with times.
Nah. It was always if you were at somebody's house and they had it on,
it was so
playing
exciting.
The same songs.
Because it used to. I think was it bought out by Sky,
at some point,
and then Sky moved it to like this playlist model.
Of
we'll have
the best rock anthms of the 20th century.
Yawn.
I remember at a friend's house.
See Basket Case one more time.
I'm going to see Linkin Park. I'm going to guess. Definitely going to see Linkin Park any minute now. Oh, there it is.
Oh, there it is. Yeah. Depending on time of day you were watching, you knew what were coming. And I think I
remember thinking, who is watching this?
Us. Us laughing
going,
at it because we know what's going to come next. But yes, it's Kerrang. See, I don't even watch music channels anymore.
No, I don't.
It's Kerrang.
They're redundant as far as I'm concerned.
Kerrang's still going though, isn't it?
The magazine is.
No, the channel though.
I think it's still on.
I think Kerrang is still
I flick it on now and again to see what's on.
But
obviously Scuzz is down.
Basket Case and Linkin Park.
But like Kerrang's just playing like whatever's in the charts. It plays 21 Pilots and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's not really
it's not what it used to be anymore.
It's rock music.
Vintage. Yeah. It's gone already. It didn't last very long. But Vintage TV.
Oh yeah.
They did because I remember Inglorious did like a little session with them.
Yeah.
And I was like, I mean, don't get me wrong, Inglorious have got Wonga behind them, but there was a bit of hope there. They're like, oh, are they going to start playing sessions from lesser known artists, and I flicked onto it and it was like we don't exist anymore, so vintage TV's gone. I think it's online only now.
Yeah,
I think they're still doing some.
That's where everything's like Netflix and all that sort of stuff. That's
I can't remember the last time I watched. I like MTV Bass, which is
that still going?
Yeah.
All right.
I got really. It's still playing the exact same songs as when I.
So that'll be going soon then.
Yeah. Well, MTV Bass, like when I was a teenager, it's like before you were going out, like 2000s R&B.
Yeah.
Was where it.
Well, there's MTV. There's another one. What the fuck has happened to MTV? It's
John,
now reality TV.
Geordie
It should be
Shore
RTV for reality.
I know.
They don't play any music anymore.
No, they don't. Oh, we sound so old and bitter.
No, we're being accurate, is what we're being. But like, it started when they had a program called The Real World.
Oh God, yeah, remember
that was like the first Big Brother.
That was Real World Seattle, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's where it all started because they got more ratings for that than anything, like them playing videos.
Aren't people shit?
So they just went, like record companies, they went, right, let's just get more of that. So then it just became, let's have another one of them. Let's have another one. Let's just play a few less videos.
I think people are getting bored with it now though, because like Big Brother's gone now. Last one's happened and that's all been
Next thing
done.
should be X Factor. That should be going soon, hopefully.
I have a love-hate relationship with X Factor because I still watch it.
Okay.
But I hate myself when I watch it.
It's like watching car crash TV,
I'm like, this guy is in a working man's club.
Yeah.
And like, I don't see it
all seems a bit of a
different.
setup, though. They always make sure someone shit gets through just so people vote.
Just so people vote for the...
Because they're getting... He's shit. I want him out.
Well, Gio was on from... I always say his band's name wrong. It's either Deviants or Deviants. I don't know which. But Gio, that was just been on it, he played Meatloaf in Bat Out of Hell in the West End thing.
Right, yeah.
So he was like the token rocker
yeah.
for X Factor. And you know what? He's a great singer, but God, did they not let him shine?
Yeah. Well, this is the thing about the model of X Factor. What actually is it? What is
like,
it portraying that as far as the music industry goes?
And they have Rock Week where they go, let me put him in black jeans and stick a chain on
and play Bon Jovi,
and then fucking Sweet Child of Mine.
Yeah.
I want to die a little piece every time I hear
bit.
Sweet Child of Mine.
Yeah, I know.
I used to do function bands, so it was also like Sweet Child of Mine, Sex on Fire, Mr. Brightside.
Yeah. All,
I want
wedding,
to just
typical wedding songs.
I just want to end it now. I can't sing this song anymore.
But I'll be glad when X Factor's gone. Just in terms of...
I just think I like it in the sense of I like that there's something out there that potentially would give an artist a platform, but it doesn't let the artist be the artist.
No.
That's the thing that I don't like about
Often
it.
they end up just becoming glorified karaoke singers, not actual musicians.
Yeah. And you'll see someone in an audition and you think, oh,
got a bit of raw talent.
Yeah, they're amazing.
Through. Yeah,
and then they've stuck them in a sparkly dress and
singing
singing
songs
Whitney
that's
Houston.
not them. Yeah, they don't let them be themselves.
Yeah,
that's kind of the story of Pink, isn't it?
Yeah,
because the way she is now, when she first got signed, was not. They wanted to be some typical.
Katy Perry was another one.
Yeah,
who.
But she just said, "No, I'm doing this, or I'm not doing it at all," sort of thing. And like they actually made more money from letting it be herself than anything they could have manufactured for her.
I don't know. I guess like, would there ever be Saturday night primetime telly? You know,
and next Saturday Night Takeaway.
Yeah,
that's primetime TV for me.
People, because you do get people saying like, "Oh, they should put rock on." Really? Yeah. Is the whole nation gonna sit and watch? But if they put like a Queen, if they tried getting unsigned bands on, I know this sounds completely contradictory to everything that I've said, but if they put unsigned bands on at Saturday night, are you going to get everybody involved? Absolutely not. People aren't going to watch it. Fact. They will only play what people will watch because they need the money from advertising and stuff like that. However, if you put a Queen special on a Saturday night, and Brian May talked about 3 young bands that he'd once seen, then you do that. So it's about being crafty. In fact, don't like, it's not going to happen. You're not going to have an unsigned band on primetime at TV unless they've got a slightly different route. I'm not saying it would never ever happen, but I think just be creative instead of going, right, well, we need to make this happen that's never going to happen in a million years. But
why would we do that? It's never been done before. That's exactly why you should do it.
It's madness, isn't it?
I'm going to ask you one of your own questions.
Oh God.
Is a good deed if you post about it on social media?
No. That's one of my own questions.
Yeah.
If you post about it on social media, no. If someone else posts about it on social media, yes.
Could it not just be a good deed, but it makes you're a bit of a dick because you post about it on social media?
I just
Fair
think
enough, you did a good deed, but
I just think there's so many of these videos now and stuff on Facebook where you've got somebody filming like I'm taking a butty to homeless Jack on corner. Aren't I amazing? You know, anything. I give homeless dudes stuff every day.
yeah, that's
and I'm
true.
sure a lot of us do. You know,
I don't post hardly at all now unless I've something vaguely I think's interesting. I would never
post loads
about,
of
like,
shit on Facebook.
Yeah, but I looked at yours, and yours is all like stuff, engaging stuff. Where you're asking a question, and you know people are going to interact with you about it. You're not just saying, "Look how good I am," sort of posts.
Well, yeah, I'd like to think that I don't post that.
No, do you know what I mean?
But there's going to be people trawling through my Facebook now, and they're going.
But that's what social media is for, I think. Like, what's the point of having it if you're not going to like put stuff out that's engaging and
Well, yeah.
sharing interesting
Social,
stuff
innit?
or asking questions rather than just being a vanity sort of thing, like which
don't
Instagram's becoming.
Oh God, it is, isn't it?
Got
Don't
all
get me wrong.
Filters and like, look
yeah.
how amazing my life is.
Hashtag no filter. Really? Are you sure? Because
Hashtag no life.
last time I looked, you didn't have bunny ears.
Yeah.
Oh, that's Snapchat, innit? That bloody.
No, it's Instagram as well.
What? Can you have bunny ears on? I don't get it.
Yeah, and a little thing on your nose. Like, why?
It is when you put like no filter. It clearly is.
Yeah.
'Cause you don't have a halo of flowers round your head.
That means there's a filter made to look like there's no filter. That's what that means.
It's stupid. But yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. Sometimes it's. I think it's a British thing where it's a bit vulgar to celebrate yourself.
Yeah, we are a bit more. Yeah.
You know, it's and
reserved.
and sometimes I think it's all right to do it, but sometimes you see people and you're like, every 5 minutes, look how amazing I am, or you know, like selfies in all different angles. It's like that's pretty much the same picture that you've posted 8 times there. You've moved your cheek slightly.
Sometimes if I get a friend request, if men or women, you know, I just start looking through all I do is profile pictures, and if every other photo
Are you like a proper
selfie,
Facebook stalker?
No, I'm saying if I get a friend request.
All right, yeah.
And I think, do I know this person? Are they in the music industry or whatever? And if every other photo, even some men as well, it's like.
Hey, men are getting worse for it with the old ad
I don't
pics.
understand. Yeah, I know. I don't get it. People are obsessed with just.
People like airbrush their abs and stuff now. You know, honestly, that's an actual thing. You can get like.
God. It doesn't surprise me.
You can get like a spray gun thing that contours your abs. I was reading about it the other day, and I just thought, really, what? Who's got time for that?
Unfortunately, people have got a lot of fucking time to waste money on stupid shit like that. It's the sad reality we live in these days. It's like.
At what point do you think I'm going to go and spend an hour for someone to paint me bloody
Yeah, but you can
six-pack
get
on?
women getting arse implants.
That's weird.
I don't like.
Like, imagine
Is that
if
not Kim Kardashian's supposedly got?
if they're real, I'm a size 8.
Nicki Minaj.
I know.
It's like what?
I think it's like, would you not be like? I mean, I'm a woman, obviously, but would you not be worried that it pops? Like if you sat down too hard.
You sit down here and eyes go, was that me?
Yeah.
I think we do. I mean, it used to be that it was always a thing with women. You know, like women's magazines were telling you to be thin and this, that, and the other. But it's just as bad. I think it's getting worse for men now.
There's a fine line though, because like all these magazines are being pressured to like show all sizes of women or a more average size. The average size being like a normal woman rather than a skinny woman. But there was one, I don't know if you saw it, where I don't know if it was Sports Illustrated or someone had she wasn't like big, but she was just, I don't know how to describe
larger
it.
than normal, but not.
Yeah, but they were saying, well,
She want a stick figure.
at what size is like okay?
I don't even
Is
know
she
what
unhealthily
normal-
overweight?
what-
So is
what
that
is
a good thing to
normal?
promote? Or yeah, exactly. That was the debate though. It was like, yeah, you don't want to have skinny women, but you don't want to have morbidly obese women because that's not healthy either. So where is the line where it's supposed to be average and normal and okay? What's okay? What's not okay? We've already established that stick women is unhealthy and it shouldn't be promoted.
But do you know what? Somebody that's, you know, regarded as skeletal or whatever can be just as healthy.
Oh yeah.
And I just think, like, I mean, the only time you're going to see someone like me in a magazine is a before picture. Do you know what I mean? That's the only time you'll see that. But I just think it's, and same with like on stage and stuff, because if you are like being completely open, for me, I gave up my musical journey, as in from a public perspective, because I did put on weight and I thought, I'm not confident enough to think, because you end up being the poster child for fatties.
Right, yeah.
You know, it's instead of looking at somebody and go, oh, you know, she's got a great voice or a band's great or anything like that, it's like, yay, girl power, look at the fatty on stage.
Yeah, you didn't sign up for that. It's like...
not what, because, I mean, tribute bands, that's a whole other story, but I was asked to be in a Paramore tribute band.
Right.
Now, if you look at me and you look at Hayley Williams, I'm clearly a fat version. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's about the music and the voice, though.
But it's not, because if let's say I did take that gig, there is no way that there wouldn't be at least one comment of me being a fat Hayley Williams. There is no way on this earth that wouldn't be said.
Yeah.
And that was one of my reasons for not bothering. I'm not saying it's right or anything, and you know, I've made that.
You just can't be arsed with that.
I just think I sit and make music in my bedroom, because I'm not. I'd rather help people that are confident enough to, you know, go out and put them in. I write music. I sit in my bedroom and play my guitars and things like that. I personally think it's extremely brave when people share the music I write is really personal.
Yeah.
You know, and it's almost like my diary. You know, and if I put that out there and somebody started saying like, look at a sparkly dress, it clings in wrong places. Do you know what I mean? It's like, oh, it's not about my music. So I've chosen not to do that, and I'm not saying it's right, and it may change, but I think the whole body positivity thing's going like the other way, because it's, you know, it's not cool to say somebody's fat or somebody, and it's like, instead of going, that's a person there, it's like, oh, look at her, plus size, woohoo. But
it shouldn't really about. It depends what they're doing. If they're a musician, it should be. Are they good at music?
But it is.
What does that have to do with it?
I do think still, even now, you know, I know things are more liberal and stuff like that, and people talk about snowflakes and stuff like that. But I do think even now, women do get judged more on stage than men.
Yeah. Probably.
Because if you read 2 reviews, you know, one's about a male band, one's about a female band.
This is the other thing I've got written down. Female fronted bands.
Oh, you set me off on that one.
We'll get into that.
But yeah, if you've got a male band, a female fronted band, you know, you might have the odd comment about what they're wearing, the bloke band, but female band, damn straight you'll have something about what that woman looks like.
Yeah.
That's a completely, whether it, and it is the way of the world, unfortunately.
We were to do an experiment with the performed. The stage was like closed off. They were on the stage, but you couldn't see the stage, and you could only hear them. That would be interesting to see what the difference was.
Yeah.
Would people's general perception be different just based on the audio?
So you mean like one with them like on stage and everyone could see in the same?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I'm with you. That'd be quite interesting. Nice little social experiment there. But yeah, female fronted bands.
Because like I've been guilty of it, I've said it, and I thought, but why do you need to say it? Are people gonna if there's this to this band? You go, you did not tell me this was fronted by a woman. I'm offended. It's like, no, it's music. It happens to have a woman singing.
It's cultural, I think. And what happens is
there are less women in music.
There are, and I think so.
That's probably why it's happened.
Yeah, now you're setting me off on my female fronted round.
You go, girl!
Right, so I do not have a problem with female fronted bands. I have a problem with the words female fronted bands.
Yeah.
Now, I think it started because, as you said, there's a lot less women in the music industry all around, you know, not just bands, but, you know, behind the scenes and that kind of thing. There are less women. And I think a lot of that, it's cultural. So, you know, back in the day, it just traditionally, you know, in the same way that, you know, it's not traditional for a bloke to stay at home and look after the kids. It wasn't traditional for a woman to go out and be a rock star.
Yeah.
It just wasn't a traditional path. Rightly or wrongly, that wasn't the case. And so, as a result, when you're growing up and you look to your role models, you know, as a bloke, there's a shitload of blokes you can look at and go, yeah, I want to be like him. I want to do that on stage. As a woman, that pot is a lot smaller. So as a result, you perpetuate that same thing. So generationally, you know, there's less women going up. And then when you're going back to, you know, when you're at school and musical education and things like that, you know, your girls are going to go and play the violin and they're going to go and play the piano. They're not going to go and play guitar and drums because that just traditionally isn't how it is, and it's changing, which is wonderful, but it's going to take time. And I think that you're just trying to put a sticking plaster on things by sort of going, right, there's not enough women in the industry, so what we're going to do is we're going to have a quota where we look at us, we've got 50% female fronted.
Yeah.
Check us out. That's never going to solve the issue.
Because the musicians aren't going to be very good. They're just there to make up the numbers, are they?
Yeah, well, sometimes you might get some musicians who are very good who will get tired of you're only here because you're a bird.
Yeah.
You'll get that, and ultimately people's perceptions change. I think if you go right back to the root cause, it's when you're a kid growing up, who do you have to look at? Because those are the things, and it might not necessarily be somebody famous, but in your family or your friends and things like that. All of that stuff shapes who you are as a person when you're growing up. There's always people that you look to and you think. I think most musicians, probably became musicians because of another musician.
Absolutely, yeah.
I can't think of an example why that wouldn't be the case.
I think that's always the case, yeah.
So it's natural that if there's a smaller pot of people...
It's changing, it's getting better. There's a lot more role models now, which hopefully will start more women coming into it.
And I just think, I think it's really sad if we get into the realms of... female fronted's like becoming a genre. I mean, shut up.
Yeah, I saw a festival that was like the female fronted festival kind of thing.
And it's like
why do they need their own festival? Why not just put them in with everyone?
There are some absolutely amazing kick-ass women in all walks, but particularly the rock genre. I mean,
oh yeah, definitely.
Like, have you seen Voodoo Blood?
Yeah.
Kim, absolute powerhouse.
Yeah.
That is naff all to do with her gender.
Oh yeah, it's just
she would like stand on stage and smash a hell of a lot of male frontmen.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Off the stage. And I don't know what the PC term is. Front woman, front man. I don't know. But
front person.
But people, when people sort of say for a woman, she's really
they get a bit of that in comedy as well.
Yeah, and it's like it's not she's shit hot.
It's not like,
no matter whether she's a woman or a
female
man.
Fronted, so they're not as good, but these ones are actually quite good, actually.
I just don't get it.
I don't think so.
I really don't get it. And a lot of it, you see female fronted,
it's hard to get around, isn't
it? Bands with females in. And you can tell that there's like some sort of rule book that says, right, well, you must wear a corset that pushes your rack up and
short skirts,
a short skirt,
tights and
tight leather pants, and so it's like somebody's given him that. Like, the only way you can be a woman in a band is if you fit. You don't
have to be sexy. It doesn't. I saw that.
There's some ugly front men.
Oh,
there's some really, really ugly
most of them, probably,
men.
I'd say. But I read an article that was interesting about touched on that about there's a lot of ugly men, but they're still regarded as idols and pop stars. But is it different for women because of they're much more sexualized? That basically it was saying if you took like two female bands, one was really attractive, one was really like average looking, or some of them were ugly, say by some people's standards. Does have the attractive women got more of an advantage?
Yeah, and that's wrong. I'm not saying that's right.
The other balance was, well, if the women who are less attractive, if their music's really good, then people will just focus on the music because that's all you've got to go on. Which is kind of what they do with men. They don't sort of focus on really the looks. It's like you're taking the whole thing as in the music.
I think it's down to how you market. So there are bands who have females in, not necessarily fronting the band, but just you might be a drummer. So Stonebroken, for example, Robin.
Oh yeah,
great drummer.
Yep.
Does anyone go, there's a bird in Stonebroken? Oh my God.
Exactly. Yeah.
No one does it because they're marketed as a band.
Yeah.
I
suppose it is different when it's the singer because they're obviously the front person.
Focal point.
Yeah. They're probably the most likely the person who's going to do all the interviews and most of the pictures and that. But
an example I can think of, so Blues Pills. I don't know if you're familiar with them. So they're sort of a blues rock band. Now, their marketing's very much sort of like vintage and retro and things like that. And the lead singer, I can't remember her name. She's a bit of a Janis Joplin type voice. She's amazing, but you never hear them dropped into conversation about female fronted bands ever. She's a bit of a like she's got like really long blonde hair, a bit of a hippie, you know, type thing. So she doesn't, you know, get a bits out on stage or anything like that. And she's mesmerising to watch. Like, I've seen them live a couple of times. And I love that there's nothing made of the gender of any of the band. It's just a great band. And I think, you know, if you've got the photo shoot that, you know, picks out the female members and they're in sexy poses and stuff. I sound like my grandma now, don't I? But the thing is, women perpetuate themselves. I'm guilty of it. I mentioned that I don't get on stage anymore because I don't feel I fit in with a traditional, you know, what people would find attractive on stage. So I decide not to. So I'm perpetuating the same thing because you know, there will be other women who feel exactly the same as me. Well, yeah, it's interesting the difference in some women are like, even if they're like two attractive women, one woman will deliberately dress down and go, no, I'm not going to use that side of it at all. I'm just going to play my music. And the other woman will go, well, I'm fit, so rock on. I'm going to use that to get my band further. And exactly.
Like,
there is no right or wrong answer. It's just different approaches to it.
Yeah, but the one thing that I don't like, I mean, whatever approach works for you as your band, as long as you're comfortable. So as a woman, you know, if you're dressing how you personally want to dress and
you're not feeling pressured into it.
Yeah, if it makes you feel comfortable, wear a bra and knickers on stage.
Yeah.
You know, if that is how, you know, you feel at your sexiest and at your comfiest, absolutely. And I'm not saying people shouldn't wear revealing clothes or anything like that, but if you feel that that's how you should dress, or your management,
if it feels natural to do it for that situation,
and if your management has told you that that's what you have to do, then absolutely don't do that. But, but female fronted, like, you're a band. You don't need to sort of say, oh, female fronted.
You don't need to rely on stuff like that, do you?
No, and people do, rightly or wrongly, people do have a perception. If you see a band describe themselves as that, some people will go, oh, maybe I'm not. Do you remember that pub? Where was it? Was it in Durham? I can't remember where it was now. There was a pub who, it was a rock venue, banned female-fronted bands.
Why?
They just said the punters didn't like female-fronted bands. It was a big hoo-ha. It was a couple of months ago now.
Yeah, I vaguely remember something about that.
Yeah, there was a big hoo-ha about it. But do you know what? If bands had approached them with, here's my music, here's my bio, well, they'd turn up on the night and people would listen to them.
That's true, yeah. Yeah.
You know, they wouldn't have been able to go, you can't play it because you're banned.
I also find it hard to believe, like, because they must have had nights where they have two male bands and one female-fronted band.
Yeah.
And I doubt that customers complain to the bar.
I know.
All their bands were good, but don't put any more female-fronted bands on, please. I can't imagine that happening.
It just doesn't make...
That doesn't make
I
any sense.
think rock's one of the only genres that does it as well.
Does what?
The female-fronted thing.
The label.
Yeah, I'm just...
that's true, actually, yeah.
In pop, you're like, female-fronted Little Mix.
That's true,
it's not like...
Yeah.
I think rock is one of the only genres. Perhaps that is because it's rarer in... Yeah, do you know what? I've never thought of that before, but I can't think of another genre that does it.
You're right.
Stop it, rockers. Fuck's sake.
Music is music.
It is though.
It is. That's what's the most important thing at the end of the day, not what the person looks like. Like, you know those people who like dismiss a band because they don't like one of the members, or they don't like.
Oh, I know.
He did this a few years ago, so I don't like this band.
So I'm not gonna like this band.
So I'm going to deny myself. Like, people didn't like Michael Jackson, obviously, for various reasons, but I mean, his music's amazing.
Come on, let's face it.
But he was such an easy target for all that. But to dismiss, like, I've got a friend. He's like, no, I don't like Michael Jackson, even though I know he likes a few of his songs.
Do you know what? And controversial, but I mentioned Lost Prophets by accident earlier.
Yeah.
I really liked them when I was growing up.
Yeah,
obviously
they've got some good tunes.
He did all his dodgy stuff, but I feel sorry for Rest at Band now because they're completely tainted.
Did they go on to do anything else?
I think they tried to release something under a different name, but everyone's like, yeah, it's still the guys from Lost Prophets.
That's a bit harsh, isn't it? It's like, it's not really their fault.
It's not. God, can you imagine, like, finding that out about?
Yeah,
that's another reason why you should go on band nights out. Right there, find out what your front man's up to.
Keep tabs.
That's all. They mustn't have been close as a band.
Wow. I couldn't believe that. Yeah.
He won't be. Well, do you know what though? It's quite interesting because obviously like, that was awful and completely unacceptable. But there's stories about like Anthony Kiedis, Steven Tyler, some of the stuff they got up to. If they did it now, they would absolutely be like, whoa, you're a leper. You're never going to play in the music industry ever again.
Yeah, you're just waiting for stuff to come out, aren't you?
But
like comedians, that was the like Bill Cosby and all that.
Yeah, well, what was didn't Steven Tyler sleep with a 14-year-old or something like? So, apologies if he didn't, so for like libel reasons. But no, like Janie's Got a Gun was about an underage.
Oh yeah, it was. Yeah,
an underage girl. And Sting, not the epitome of rock, but that Don't Stand So Close to Me.
Yeah,
is about being a teacher and a really fit student.
And
he was a teacher. So it makes you think that's potentially based on real life experiences.
But, but maybe the fact that he didn't do it.
But he didn't, because he said, don't stand near me because I don't know what I'm going to do. But I just think, like, it's so strange how things that were acceptable, you know, back in the day.
Well, even if they weren't, no one said anything.
Oh, yeah.
Like Jimmy Savile.
Yeah.
Like half the BBC at the time knew what was going on.
I was going to say, everyone knew, didn't they?
Yeah.
So, I mean, if everyone knows something's going on and people don't say anything, does that mean that at that time it's acceptable? Or is it just that people are too frightened?
I think it was... Yeah, I think people were just too frightened. Because I saw lots of interviews where people are going, yeah, I'd heard there was things going on, but I never really knew.
Like now, with, what's his face? Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah.
Weinstein. What's his name?
Weinstein. Harvey
Weinstein.
Weinstein.
I can't say his name. Oh, I tell you.
Yeah, some pretty horrific stories from some of the female actresses about what you would do.
That stuff, I mean, I'm not saying on his level, but as a woman in the music industry, there'll be lots of women who will agree with me. I can't recall growing up going to a gig that I didn't get felt up at.
Oh, right.
And it's only now, and I'm not saying that it was right that it happened or anything, but it was very much of, that guy's a dickhead and I'm going to punch him in the face in a minute if he touches my arm, my leg, my boob one more time. But it was you just sort of used to grin and bear
You're like,
it.
oh, well, that happened.
You know, I've been to gigs and a bloke's put his hand up my dress and all sorts, and
hell.
you just think, oh yeah, and you just think at the time,
That's
it was like mortified. It was like, how dare you? But
you never thought past that.
It was like, that's ridiculous. You never really...
Looking back, you're like,
why
did I do something?
But
well, I think a lot of this Me Too stuff and people coming out, that's what's helped people start to...
Yeah, I think it's a bit of a double-edged sword, the Me Too thing, because it's also creating a bit of hysteria as well.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of false accusations coming out as well. Like, particularly, you feel sorry for some men who it comes out that like nothing happened.
Exactly. I mean, there's... I won't get into too much for legal reasons, but like Decapitated. Do you remember they got?
Was it the drummer?
One of them, I can't remember, but they've got some fan. I mean, I'm not being funny. I've been to so many like gigs and stuff like that where you've got the old groupie.
Yeah.
All that stuff, and that all used to be, that was like the romance of rock and roll. You'd have all your groupies. Now it's like you've no chance because you're going to get arrested for
no chance.
Like even looking at a girl the wrong way.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah,
Men are terrified to do anything now.
Do you know what? I know, I do. I kind of feel sorry for blokes.
They're like, well, I want to talk to her. I want to like chat her up, but like, I'm dead.
Well, there was, I can't remember who it was. Someone who posted on Facebook the other day. They were struggling to carry something, and they'd posted a status saying like, I was struggling, I'm only little, couldn't carry it, and 3 blokes walked past me and no one helped me. And I thought, well, actually, if someone went and helped you now, they'd be like, how dare you, I'm a strong independent woman, how dare you think I can't carry this?
I can open doors for myself, thank you.
Do you know what? I think it's lovely if a bloke opens the door for you and stuff like that. But yeah, it's hard. It is challenging.
It's a minefield these days.
It is challenging, and things like when you're a woman in the music industry, you assume to either be doing merch or sleeping with one of the band. That's pretty much what happens. I mean, there's more and more women getting involved, and certainly like the backstage, like the production. There's more sound engineers that are women and things like that. And I hope that continues to grow, but for the right reasons, not because people are saying we need more women, but actually because women want to do
doing everything,
it.
though, aren't they?
Yeah.
So I think general perception of women's roles and everything has changed. Well, hopefully it's changing. That like heads of major corporations, there's more women doing that than men now. So that's a good sign. I just think
it's all the quotas and things like that. Just don't do it. If a woman wants to do something, more power. Do you know what I mean?
If there's less women, there's less women. Let's keep encouraging them. But if there's going to be less, there's going to be less.
Work out why there's less women. Well, if you go back, like I said, going back to being a kid, There's not that. As time goes on, you know, there's more and more women to look at. There's more and more young girls who'll be like, oh yeah, this rockers. I mean, you don't always have to look now at rockers of your own gender.
Yeah.
I mean, there's more genders now.
Oh yeah, it's too many for my liking.
That's a whole shitstorm that we could open right there. But yeah, you don't always have to. Sometimes you can just like love someone just because they're amazing at something. I mean, my vocal idols, Chris Cornell, Steven Tyler. You know, Chris Cornell is probably the guy who got me singing and writing.
Yeah.
You know, and you just think, because obviously I love Queen and stuff. You look at Freddie, and I was like, I've never looked at Freddie and gone, I'm going to be Freddie.
No.
You know, Mark Bolan, maybe there's an element of I'm going to wear glitter, but you know, there was never really that. But Chris Cornell was like, because I've always had, like vocally, I've had a deeper voice than perhaps a woman would traditionally have, because they're sort of more like bluesy, you know, that kind of vibe. And so the females in the growing up they had a higher voice, and I was like, oh, I'm not really don't really fit into that.
Yeah,
and
but that could be a good thing because you're different.
Yeah, and then like Chris Cornell, I was like, oh, I love him, and I've
that voice. Just
my voice cracks a little bit.
Yeah.
So actually, you know, and there's that kind, and obviously Steven Tyler sings ridiculously high notes.
Oh, his range is incredible.
And you think, oh, I could be like that. Obviously, I'm not.
Like Jack Black.
Yeah.
What a range he's got on him.
I know. I'm not claiming to be like any of those vocalists before anyone slags me off. Well, yeah, there's certainly people that I've thought, and I think it's more acceptable now for women to be able to go, actually, that guitarist is shit hot. Doesn't matter what gender they are or anything.
Like, is it Orianthe? Do you know her?
I'm not a fan, but yeah.
No, but she's bloody good guitar player.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, that's the kind of thing. We need more people like that. Where, like, you know, men who are like a bit old-fashioned are like, oh, wow, she can play. Do you know what I mean? You need more of that.
Yeah.
I think. So people just becomes the norm.
Have you seen Samantha Fish? She's a blues guitarist. She's shit hot, absolutely amazing. And I have a bit of a love-hate relationship with Orianthe. So you know, I mentioned about the whole sexualizing your image and things like that. Sometimes I think it doesn't feel authentic with Orianthe. It doesn't feel like she's wearing those clothes or behaving in a certain. She might be, so that's absolutely cool. But for me, connecting, you know, as a viewer, it doesn't feel like she's wearing those things because that's what she's comfortable in. It feels like she's playing up to an image, which is cool if that's what works for her. But like Samantha Fish, she still dresses in a fairly sexual way, you know, like low cut tops and things like that. But it feels like
it's not over the top.
That she'd absolutely get ready, and that's what she wants to wear, and that's fine. And I think that's the key. It doesn't matter whether it's overtly sexual or not. It doesn't really matter, as long as you can look at somebody and think that's them. That's what the image that they're choosing to portray, not because they feel they have to or someone's told them. But yeah, Samantha Fish, definitely check her out. She's another one.
He's slowly dying in the corner over there. He forgot to take his notes. Samantha Fish.
No.
I'm having to mute the microphone every time I do.
Oh no.
Lauren Hutchinson, thank you for joining us.
You are
welcome.
It's
been fucking awesome. We've done 2.5 hours.
You're joking?
Have we? Something like that?
Yeah.
Must be. Holy hand grenades. It's just flown by.
It has.
I've loved talking to you. It's been great.
Thanks, love.
We'll have you back definitely at some point. Where can people find you if they want to get in touch with you?
So people can find me. So I'll do website first. rockfairy.co.uk. Nice and easy one to remember. Facebook is the Rock Fairy Official. Yep. Instagram is the same.
If they Google you, does most of that come up?
I'm on the front page, baby.
Yes. That's the main thing.
Yeah, if you Google Rock Fairy, I'm one at first one. I get Google alerts for the Rock Fairy, and it's either me or it's The Rock, because he was in a film called The Tooth Fairy. Because he was in The Tooth Fairy, I get
I'm not even aware of that film.
Relentless updates about The Rock and Tooth Fairy. So yeah,
that is brilliant.
Thank you.
All right, Lauren, thank you very much. Cheers.
Cheers.